College football means so much to so many people, doesn't it? I cherish every single Saturday. I do. But I gotta admit, this Saturday, it's a little extra special. You see, I've never witnessed a game in Blacksburg, Virginia's Lane Stadium. Woo! Look at this. All the seniors that have come through over the years, given their all for the Hokies, played their guts out for Virginia Tech. So you think that would feel pretty good? Bouncing down this tunnel with your boys, reaching up, slapping that rock, and then, oh, Lane Stadium, are you ready to rock? All that and then some. I guess you could say that I can check this off of my lunch bucket list, huh?
Well, Virginia Tech takes the field. It's their ACC opener. And after winning Purdue in a disappointing loss at East Carolina, Frank Beamer brings the Hokies back at 2-2. Well, despite the soggy conditions, the show goes on this first Saturday in October in the ACC, and the Pitt Panthers are here to meet the Hokies of Virginia Tech in the ACC opener for both schools. And great to be with James Bates, West Durham. Both Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh come to this ball game off losses, and both looking for critical momentum as their ACC schedule begins.
Absolutely. Frank Beamer this week, he got caught up a little bit saying exhibition, those games don't matter. Well, we know what he's talking about. He means what matters is an ACC championship. That's what these two teams are shooting for. And let's face it, they're in the Loco Coastal Division, and anything goes. A big win today would be huge to catapult them.
Well, and Pittsburgh won the toss, elected to defer, so we'll get a look at Virginia Tech on offense first here. 35-28, the disappointing final in Greenville last Saturday for the Hokies. And then you got to go back 2 weeks where Pittsburgh lost on practically the final play of the game at Iowa City against the Hawkeyes. Chris Blewett has got it teed up. Trayvon McMillan, the redshirt freshman from Woodbridge, and Kevin Asante are deep for the Hokies. And we're underway from rainy Blacksburg. And over the head of McMillan. And Virginia Tech will play first and 10 off its 25. And as always, Jen Hildreth has sidelines for us in not so perfect conditions.
No, it's not. You gotta love football. You gotta love to be tough to be out here. And that's exactly what Pat Narduzzi is talking about. His first year as the Pitt head coach. First, only new head coach of the ACC this season. He talked about trying to be tough, and this is part of it, fellas. Check out this thing. You know about the lunch pail for Virginia Tech? Well, Pitt has a toolbox, and in it they carry this giant bone, which they give out for big hits on defense. They also give out a sledgehammer when the offense makes a big hit. So how about that for some toughness?
That'll start it. First and 10, and this is Coleman for no gain, running against a very difficult 43 set of Pittsburgh that allows just 92 yards a game. And there is Brendan Motley making the start today, his fourth start for Virginia Tech.
Local kid right up the road. Brendan Motley thought he still had to wait another year for his turn. Unfortunately for Hokie fans, in game one, he was thrown into the fire against the #1 team in the nation.
did okay there, but I really feel like he's gotten better every single time, and he's a pretty good quarterback.
Here's McMillan sweeping to the right side. He'll get a handful of yards, maybe 3 before Nicholas Grigsby, number 3 for the Panthers, runs him out of bounds. And we'll get a quick check of the Toyota impact players. First for the Hokies.
Yeah, Bucky Hodges, take your pick. Malik, one tight end, or Bucky Hodges, 2 great guys you can do a lot of things with. And Sam Rogers, just a junior, but he is, without a doubt, the heart and soul of this football team. He can do it all as a coach on the field and is such an incredible leader. He's in the game, flanking Motley right now on a big 3rd down.
That's Hodges, the tight end, in motion through the formation here on 3rd down. And Motley looks to throw. Back across for Malik, and incomplete. So Virginia Tech, who was just 6 of 16 on 3rd down last week, and East Carolina is 0 for 1 here on the start. And a look at the Toyota impact players for the Panther defense.
Well, Nicholas Grigsby, I watched him cover that opening kick, and he put somebody on their back, even though the ball went out the end zone. Then he turns around and makes a play there at his linebacker spot. Watch freeze all day long. And AM, Avonte Maddox, is, a lot of guys will point out when you talk to the Pitt team, the toughest guy on this team, and he's a cornerback.
A.J. Hughes to punt the ball to the dangerous Tyler Boyd. Will step up, let it hit, and it takes a huge Virginia Tech bounce of about 14 yards inside the 30 to the 27. It's a 44-yard punt, including the forward kick for A.J. Hughes. You see Donovan Riley down on special teams for Virginia Tech. And here comes the Tennessee transfer, Nate Peterman, a junior who graduated from Knoxville early. And he'll get the start here today.
As offensive coordinator Jim Chaney, also from the University of Tennessee. Got a pretty good one along with it, good enough to put Chad Wojcik down.
I formation with Olesen at the tail of the eye. Peterman sacked on the first play of the game by Deion Clark. Loss of about 3 here on 1st down as Clark registers his 2nd sack.
Well, Virginia Tech knew they needed to get after these quarterbacks. It's going to come right up the middle. And it's not a big pass team. Pittsburgh isn't on 3rd down and long. So you pick and choose where you think you can get after these quarterbacks. And right away, rolling the dice the right way, Bud Foster, he brings the heat and it pays off. First play from scrimmage is a drop for a loss.
And Bud Foster, and they're having to help Corey Marshall off the field here. Big number 96 shaken up. You see him walking off toward the Virginia Tech bench area. And Marshall finally is helped here to the sideline. And Ron Cherry, the referee, is going to allow Pitt to re-huddle here as he resets the play clock.
I just hope Corey's okay. He's been dealing with the foot problems, but that obviously is a little bit different from the foot problems he's been messing with for a while.
So Marshall out of the lineup. And Woody Barron on the field now for Virginia Tech to spell him. And here's Wojcik, the running of the quarterbacks, if you will, out of Pat Narduzzi's lineup, and he's taken out of bounds near midfield. Chad Wojcik comes into the ball game a very dangerous threat, running the ball, and shows it there for 26 yards.
Well, and why wouldn't you? James Summers, the backup quarterback at ECU, won the game for him, scrambling from his quarterback spot last weekend. Last year, in the win for Pitt, Wojcik went 118 yards on the ground. That was a replay of the sack a couple plays earlier. Marshall very upset, but that's what gets you when you bring all those guys up on the line of scrimmage. If the first wave doesn't get them, it's clear sailing. A nice big pickup for Wojcik.
And here's Olesen. Looking forward to seeing this redshirt freshman from Niagara Falls, Kadri Olesen. James, who's been an outstanding talent, 200 yards in his first ball game of the year against Youngstown State after Connor got hurt. He's one of your impact players.
Absolutely. James Conner will not play again this season. Kadri Olesen stepped in nicely the first game. And, of course, we all know Tyler Boyd, the junior, is one of the best to ever come through Pitt. And, well, there have been a lot of big-time all-stars that have come out of this Pittsburgh program.
Peterman back in the game, 2nd down, and here's Olesen breaking free right side. inside the 35 and diving to the 34 before Chuck Clark, the Hokies leading tackler coming into the ball game, makes the play after a 13-yard run.
Watch the big bodies get up and go. Alex Officer Artie Rowell just gets the clip on the outside of the leg. As a defender, you've got to keep that outside leg free. You can't let him hook you. And Rowell, a nice effort by the big senior center, just enough to spring Olesen. Olesen, same body type maybe as Connor, but you really got a long way to go before you can put those two in the same category. 6'2", 230-pounder, and a nice lean to him as he runs.
Boy, they swapped the battery. James has come in with Wojtek now, and for the Hokies, Deion Clark wraps him up, drops him maybe after no gain on the play. Woody Barron also in on the stop. Here's the impact players for Virginia Tech on defense, brought to you by Toyota.
Well, Luther Maddie, Daddy Nicholas are both pretty good ones, and Chuck Clark, that should be there, the safety, as the junior that is so tough on special teams and defense as well. Luther Maddie and Daddy Nicholas, couple Atlantic High School products down South Florida.
Orndorff, the lines up at fullback. Now Peterman going to throw. Up in the pocket, breaks through a couple tackles, and brought down shy of the 30. It'll be third down, Clark and Van Dyke. James, an interesting formation, that Peterman with an eye there behind him.
Well, and you see everybody walked up, and they walk up and they put the pressure. The pressure comes from the edge, and a couple slip tackles. The initial wave, the first couple guys with the miss, and that's what burnt them last week against ECU. Talking about, of course, this Virginia Tech defense, but still, you get them dropped, and now you've got a third down and 6. Know where those chains are. They've got to get to the 24-yard line. Know where those sticks are.
Hokies are 10th in the ACC at 38%. And flipped over there is Peterman. Andrew Matua-Palaka, the linebacker, injured against Furman, back in the lineup today for Frank Beamer, made the hit.
Hey, how about Peterman lowering his shoulder? Matua-Palaka, you know, he goes Jimmy Superfly Snuka there at the end and drops him. They're glad to have their middle linebacker back, especially because Sean Hulskamp has to sit out the first half for a targeting call that I don't know that I agree with it last week, but he won't be there until the second half.
45-yard try here for Blewett. Winslow will hold to put Pittsburgh on the board. A line shot is good. Good thing the crossbar's not 15 feet high. Line shot by Chris Blewett. Pitt takes the opening drive and scores 3 points.
ACC College Football is brought to you by CPI Security, your local Ford dealer, and Blimpie.
Well, there's the original lunch pail that Bud Foster started with. And there's the veteran defensive coordinator who, Luther Maddie, pretty candid with us yesterday. Coach Foster hadn't been real happy this week.
He said to us several times in our meeting, he said, you know what? They don't like me very much right now. And that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing. Wow. Did you ever have a coach not like you very much, James?
A whole lot.
Was that a whole lot?
Yeah, Jim Collins, defensive coordinator, co-coordinator at Duke now. Those Blue Devils are playing some good ball, too.
And McMillan sees the Blewett kick 8 yards deep. Hokies will start again on their 25. The Blewett field goal for the Panthers, 8 plays, 46 yards, and just about 4.5 minutes. But James, a lot of that stuff on the ground, they did not complete a pass in their opening possession to Pittsburgh.
Well, it's so wet. You've got two teams that are promising to come out and play some smash-mouth physical football. And even though after one shot each, Pitt's got the points, I really feel like they both came ready to play. Now, therein lies the rub for the Virginia Tech defense, because Bud Foster said, I didn't doubt their effort. They played hard.
Right.
We've just got to execute a little bit better. And a couple missed tackles, and that'll cost you.
Here's Coleman again from a slot on the sweep to the near side. 5 yards for J.C. Coleman. Shoe top tackle by the star linebacker, and that's Nicholas Grigsby for the Pitt Panthers. By the way, I should note, Pittsburgh didn't even attempt to pass, let alone complete one, and another look here.
Right side of your screen, boom, right there in the picture, you're going to see just the back end of Bucky Hodges out there blocking. Hodges, of course, listed as a tight end. They'll line him up wide all over this field. He can block when he's got his hand in the dirt. He showed you there on the perimeter as well.
Motley looking to throw. Far side, Cam Phillips. The catch and the first down for the Hokies ahead of Terrence Graham, the free safety.
You hear a lot about Isaiah Ford. He's a big-time player, just a sophomore from Jacksonville, but Cam Phillips, the sophomore from Maryland, is very good as well. This is a wet ball. To go up and pluck that one down, get those feet down, that's a pretty good throw and a pretty good catch. That's one thing that stood out last week with Motley, is he threw the ball really well in a very rainy game against ECU.
First down and 10, Virginia Tech. And that play got blown up by the time Motley handed to Coleman on the mesh. Darrell Render, the 300-pound defensive tackle. There he is, big 91 with the dreads hanging out of the helmet. James was right there.
Jarrett and Render in there in the middle. Two hosses that are so much fun to watch, play with a lot of power. One time when I was training in the summer, my dad coached for the Cleveland Browns, and I was playing at Florida. I went back to Cleveland to train. I trained at St. Ed's with their wrestling team and football team. Hardest workout I've ever been a part of. That's a tough, tough school. And Render's a tough dude.
We got a marker here on second down at about 12. And here's referee Ron Cherry with our first infraction of the day. A little discussion here.
Offside. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So second down, it will stand for Virginia Tech.
Talking with Virginia Tech, Sam Rogers yesterday, pre-snap penalties. We got to get rid of them. They've done a good job so far early in this game, but there's Pittsburgh with a costly 5 that they've given up on their own.
Well, Scott Loeffler going into some pre-snap movement here. Fake the handoff. Motley going to keep it, look for room, and across the 40, maybe to the 42. Get maybe 3 on the loop for Brendan Motley. Avonte Maddox, Pat Narduzzi telling James and Jen and I the other day, Maddox, one of those guys, yeah, he gets it. He's one of my guys. He's a tough guy. Tough guy. Well, how many times do we hear tough guy talking to Narduzzi?
Oh, it's kind of like talking to Steve Adazio. Tough dude. You know, when he called Avonte Maddox a pit bull.
Yeah.
But not like the turn down for what pit bull, like a real pit bull.
Here's Motley on third down now. Hokies missed their first chance. This is 4 to a first down. Redshirt junior looking to throw. Lost it on the way up.
It's a fumble.
And recovered by Motley. Around the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down. You can do all the wet ball drills, but live action a different deal.
Wow, just completely, and it absolutely would have been a fumble. The arm was not moving forward, so lucky to turn around and keep that one in your hands and punt it away. But now Coach Beamer's team's got to be very careful with this Beamer ball special teams as they punt it to one of the most dangerous receiver/return men in the nation, Tyler Boyd.
He's only had 1 punt return. Left-footed offering of Hughes. Boyd fumbled it. Karam's around. Scramble at the 21. Let's see. Marker down back on the Virginia Tech side of the field. 42-yard punt belongs to Pittsburgh. Looks like the Panthers, Lafayette Pitts, might have come up with it. Ron Cherry and Tom Laverty as umpire visiting. Here's the penalty.
Holding. Return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Pat Narduzzi talking to his special teams coordinator, Andre Powell. Panthers have a 3-0 lead in Blacksburg. Boy, they dodge a bullet at their end of the field when we come back. 3-0 Pittsburgh, and Bud Foster's defense already back on cue now. And boy, near miss here. The conditions already showing effect really for both schools, James.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, dry ball even. Tyler Boyd drops this ball. Didn't have anything to do with it being wet out, even though it is so nasty and we'll get rain all day long. I just think he took a peek there at the gunner the very last second and bounced off those shoulder pads. And just as Virginia Tech, lucky to have a fumble they got back right before they punted it away. Even luckier here, Pitt glad to hold on to this one. It was a 10-yard holding penalty, but now they're going to say against Virginia Tech, I guess.
Right.
So, wow, that's...
And now Frank Beamer also getting the word we're getting about the holding call being against Virginia Tech, originally announced against Pittsburgh. And now we get movement offside against Virginia Tech. I thought it was interesting when Sam Rogers, you mentioned this a moment ago.
Defense number 92. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
And that's Luther Mattey. Sam Rogers was quick to say pre-snap penalties, James. I mean, not just penalties in general. They've had 10-plus in, what, the last 3 ball games, but pre-snap penalties.
Right, you know, and what he's saying, heat of the moment, things are going to happen in football. Sometimes you're blitzing, you're rushing somebody, your hand goes up in the face mask, you get penalties during the course of the play. But the things you can control.
1st and 5. Olison, left side, brought down by the safety, Chuck Clark, and ironically plays right to the 4 keys.
Well, and ironically, right after this play as we look at these 4 keys, because it's simple. Nothing cute at all today with the keys. Block Pittsburgh. Offensively, you've got to block for those runners, and you've got to tackle better for Virginia Tech. Pittsburgh has had a bye week to work on just that. Moving bodies, 2-on-1. Let's see how tough we are. They went back to the 2-a-day mentality of just getting after ones-on-ones and really being physical. And on that snap, everybody was firing off.
Here's Wojtek keeping. He'll have the first down.
Wojtek, the ball carrier.
Toward the 44-yard line. Fresh set of downs and a 3-0 lead already as Daddy Nicholas makes the tackle, Jen.
Well, Wes, I've got an update for you defensively for Corey Marshall, the senior nose tackle. You guys go off for Virginia Tech on their last defensive possession. I'm being told that he has a right hamstring injury and will be out for at least the rest of this first half.
All right. Thank you very much. Peterman back in at quarterback. Woody Barron has been filling the spot in that defensive front for the Hokies. Peterman for Tyler Boyd, off his hands, incomplete. Terrell Edmonds, one of the 3 Edmonds brothers playing here for Frank Beamer.
Personal foul. Defense number 40. Roughing the passer. 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Deion Clark whistled for that. On the first pass attempt of the day for Pittsburgh.
Here's the rough, the best blitzer, Bud Foster. He's got 4 up front that can really come and bring some pressure. He just puts his head down and puts it right in his sternum and knocks him down. And, you know, this is a Virginia Tech defense that really got burned Sean Hulskamp on a big play. That absolutely wasn't a late hit last week, so they know to be cautious. Can't take any chances and help guys out like that.
3 penalties, 30 yards already on Virginia Tech. Peterman. And he will be knocked out of bounds after a yard by Clark. And James, you bring it up. 3 big penalties in the ball game last Saturday, whistled by an American crew against Virginia Tech that all led eventually to touchdowns for the Pirates.
Wes, penalties aside, I'm enjoying offensively, defensively, both of these teams right there in the trenches. This is the opener for ACC play for both these teams. You can tell that they've got championship on their mind. They are firing off and battling every single snap here.
Wojtek keeping here, out of bounds, the 35, right in the Hokie bench area. JP holds the tight end. Working against Chuck Clark, the free safety for Virginia Tech, helping Wojtek squeeze off a few.
You know, you got to feel good for Chad Wojtek. He's a junior. And remember last year, sophomore, remember the triplets? James Conner, Chad Wojtek, and Tyler Boyd were the gossip in the ACC when you talked offense. And Wojtek was a big reason he made it go. Made so many pretty throws. And then to lose your job, a graduate guy coming in from Tennessee and Peterman, I'm happy for him that he's into the mix and contributing so much early.
Gonna hand it. No, Peterman will keep first down. How about the read on the sweep, and the quarterback who doesn't have the reputation for running skips inside the 25 for another Pittsburgh first down ahead of Adonis Alexander.
Well, you see guys going flying out of there, and a good job by Dorian Johnson, I believe it is, to clear the way. They're blocking better up front for Pittsburgh. Here's the deal. Bud Foster knows it. You can't sleep on Wojtek's arm, and you can't sleep on Peterman tucking it and running. Both of them have shown they can mix it up a little bit here.
Aston and Allison in the backfield. And Wojtek to throw. Open, caught, touchdown for Pittsburgh and J.P. Holtz. It's a 9-0 lead for Pittsburgh. And Peterman throws his 4th score of the year.
Good job by the big guys up front. An offensive line that's averaging 307 pounds of keeping a hard-charging front from Virginia Tech off of their quarterback. Enough time for the big tight end. You know, Virginia Tech's got some. Well, Pitt as well, a great tight end. Come open for the touchdown.
23-yard score. 6 plays, 69 yards, 244. Second touchdown catch of the year for John Paul Holtz.
ACC College Football is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC, Geico, Toyota, and New York Life.
Oh, make no mistake, the VMI Keydets had no chance with Bruce Smith. Neither did anybody else, for that matter. Ultimately, the winner of the Outland Trophy and the #1 pick in the '85 draft for the Buffalo Bills. His pick number 78 hangs in the north end zone here at Lane Stadium. With James Bates, Jen Hildreth, our great ACC football crew, West Durham, we welcome you back to soggy Blacksburg, where Pittsburgh's coming here in Pat Narduzzi's first ever ACC game, and the Panthers have scored the game's first 10 points. Pittsburgh has won 5 of the last 6 in the series, but surprisingly only dates back about 22 years. End over end kick, and this is Kevin Asante. And out to about the 17-yard line is where Virginia Tech will start with their 3rd possession of the day. 16-yard return for Asante.
Watch Adonis Alexander, the safety. Something's going to draw him over here. Here's JP, the Holtz, the tight end, and he's going to run a route, but that safety's got to be over the top. You're going to see the way they get back to it, and Adonis Alexander trying to scramble to recover, and nobody over the top to help with the tight end. And Holtz, an easy little route and a nice little throw once Peterman, given the time, was able to find his tight end wide open near the end zone.
This is Trey Edmonds, and he'll fight for about 3 on first down. Scarpinato, the defensive lineman, made the play for Pittsburgh. Grad student who played at Michigan State under Pat Narduzzi's tutelage from Milwaukee, and has been quite an ad. One of a handful of grad student guys they've got on this roster, James, at Pittsburgh. And I believe we're going to get movement out of K.K. Mosley here.
Offside. Defense. Number 95. It's a 5-yard penalty.
James, they got a couple of guys. Jarrett about 335. K.K. Mosley Smith 305. Render 300. All listed weights, I might add, that when they move, everybody knows it.
Yeah, it's like trying to turn the Titanic. It's not going to turn on a dime, that's for sure. But helping them out again, it's funny that it was Sam Rogers who talked about those pre-snap penalties, and that's the second one on Pitt to try to help that Virginia Tech team out now.
Boy, Motley having a hard time on the read play, getting anything north and south. He'll fight there. Galambos, the linebacker, junior from Collingdale, Pennsylvania, playing the Mike backer spot for Pittsburgh, made the stop, and I believe it'll be just enough for the first down, and it is toward the 30 or toward the 28.
Well, that's pretty too. The middle linebacker Galambos just standing him straight up. Nice form tackle, and a good job by Motley to power forward. That was a big first down. They needed at least that and at least a couple first downs here on this drive. give that defense a little bit of a break and get some momentum going offensively now.
Motley looking to throw. Backside, here's McMillan. Made one move, and out to the 34 goes Trayvon McMillan. Capara, the linebacker, out in space. He's getting a lot of reps. Bam Bradley moving around here on the field.
Scott Leffler, the offensive coordinator, of course, there with Urban Meyer at Florida. You know, he had the Percy Harvin types, a lot of hybrid guys that go through there that can do it all. That's what Trayvon McMillan is. The redshirt freshman, an explosive guy, can run it inside, outside, and good in the pass game as well. And they're getting creative and getting him the football, and that was a nice little stick to get outside and get some extra yardage.
3 tight ends in the set, and here is Sam Rogers. And he'll dig it out toward the 37. Webb makes the stop. It'll be 3rd and short here for the Hokies.
Watch Rogers. You know, it's maybe not quite as pretty putting his foot in the ground as McMillan, but he sticks his foot in the ground and makes something happen. You know, watching that Ohio State game in week 1, when he had his big play, his big touchdown, I said to myself and my family, I said, they can win this football game. They're going to win. He brings so much energy to this stadium and to this football team. He makes them believe. He makes things happen.
Motley needs 2, and I believe he'll get it. He had to break the play to the 38. And Capara, the linebacker, again in on the stop. Final play of this first period. Let's check. And the Hokies, I think, will just let this clock wind down. And that will be the end of the first period. Pittsburgh has taken their 2 possessions, run 14 plays, and scored 10 points. And in the first conference game for both schools and a very important Coastal Division game, the Panthers have a 10-0 lead after 1. Let's go to quarter 2 in Blacksburg. You see Pittsburgh 10, Virginia Tech nothing, in our Microsoft Cloud game summary here, Batesy.
Yeah, and look down at the bottom there. Average yards per play. The Hokies just 2.5 to the 7.3 for Pittsburgh. And the penalties, 5 penalties combined there in the first half. I know both these coaches want to be careful with that. In a game that's ultimately going to be close, you can't turn the football over and you can't give up 5 yards here and there. It kills momentum and helps out that other team so much.
Trey Edmonds is the running back alongside Motley. Brendan going to throw here on 1st and 10. Looping it for Hodges. Cannot make the catch. There'll be a flag thrown against Terrence Webb, the free safety. Boy, Bucky Hodges is a big-time talent at 6'6", nearly 250, the redshirt sophomore.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 2. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, Hodges, a tough drop late in the ECU game. Look at this big man run this route. And it's good catch-up. You know, off the initial stick, Webb's a little late getting there. All he's got to do is snap that head around, and it's a beautiful play. Decent coverage, but you've got to snap the head around and look and trust your instincts. Watch those big eyes of the receiver.
Here's Motley going to look to throw again, and he'll be sacked. Pittsburgh sent Capara, the linebacker, through, and he'll register the sack. First of the year for him.
There you go. There's your guy. He's been very active. Listed as a backup to Bam Bradley.
Right.
He's going to come through late, tied up is Galambos with the center. And that gives enough space, a nice little rip underneath and a motor. And you got to, as a quarterback, you got to have that clock in your head. Okay, nobody's open off these initial cuts. I got to move. I got to do something because it's coming down. And Caprara with a big sack here to drop it.
Here's Motley working to the far side. Stepped out of 1, cuts back. And Brandon Motley runs for the first down. 22 yards for the redshirt junior. Amara, the safety, comes over to make the play.
Well, Caprara again has a chance to make a big play. They're in the hole, slides off of him. You see on the other side of your screen, Isaiah Ford. He's a big-time receiver. A lot of guys that are a good receiver, young guy like that, they're not going to block down the field when they're not getting the football. It's not like he's been throwing the football a lot today. That's not in my contract. Well, that's not the way Hokies and Panthers play football. Great perimeter block.
Motley in trouble, and there's Bam Bradley. The money backer. Bradley fighting through. So Kapara and now Bradley with sacks out of that weak side backer position.
It's a Pitt defense that got after these Hokies last year. They sacked them 3 times, held them to 26 yards rushing. And come on, big man, McLaughlin, the big offensive tackle. You can't just lay them, and that sets up a Bam Bam Bradley moneybacker dance after that sack, and that's 2 big ones here on this series.
Wow. Pat Narduzzi with the defensive pedigree. What a unit he had in East Lansing last year, James.
Not just last year, for many years.
And now Motley's pass is batted away. Is it ruled a fumble? Oh, it was incomplete. Looked like Rory Blair, 92, got in there.
If you can give him time. One thing that we didn't hit, here's the block one more time. And the offensive line now is having some trouble with not just Bradley, but the other guys up front. And Isaiah Ford, again, if he has an extra beat, he's going to find number 1, and that's an easy touchdown like we saw on Pitt's touchdown. But we saw on the incomplete pass to Hodges, the penalty flag. Hodges can throw, or Motley can throw the football. Whistles are blown. This one won't count.
Whistles were blowing as the ball was snapped. Nicholas Grigsby frees Grigsby.
False start. Offense, number 71. It's a 5-yard penalty.
There's McLaughlin now,
still 3rd down.
making his 27th career start today. Jonathan McLaughlin whistled for the procedure call. Crowd is booing because of the hit Grigsby made on Motley after the snap of the ball.
It's Grigsby that comes up front, and you know, you'd like to say it's too loud, but the hometown, this is a smart football crowd. It's not like they're cheering too much. It's you hear those whistles. Lucky for Grigsby, we didn't get a whistle, and these guys are a little too antsy up front. Again, the pre-snap penalties keep on coming.
All right, but let me ask you, Mr. Former Linebacker, you see the 2 sacks.
Offside. Defense, number 92.
That's on
It's a
Rory
5-yard
Blair.
penalty. Still 3rd down.
Pittsburgh's got the rhythm now. You hear about offensive rhythm? Pittsburgh's got a little defensive rhythm, don't they?
They absolutely do. And the toughness that they worked on in the bye week is paying off. I'd be careful here, Virginia Tech. I mean, this is a big 3rd down and forever. Watch for the draw to Rogers. Watch something simple, maybe even a quarterback draw. Don't turn the football over right now. At the very least, punt it away and pin them.
Straight drop. Motley. Crossing route. Here's Hodges, another catch. Bucky keeps his feet. First down and lowers the shoulder on the Panthers is Bucky Hodges. 2 big catches for the sophomore tight end. That one 28 yards.
Or just use your security blanket. Give your quarterback enough time when you got a guy like big number 7. Are you kidding me? Here comes Rogers, and plenty of time this time for Motley to find it. And the big man, he gets going north and south, and that is a load to deal with. Gosh, he's got to be up near 250 pounds. They got him listed at 241.
Here's Rogers. Little counter from the spread, maybe a yard to the 11. And Virginia Tech gets into the CPS security red zone for the first time today. 21st appearance on the year for the Hokies. They've had 14 touchdowns. You see the 2 field goals. They've also had a fumble in the red zone this year for Scott Leffler's offense.
Well, in the play of the game for Scott Leffler's offense for this Virginia Tech team, of course, that 3rd and 14. This Pitt defense has been 28%, 24th in the NCAA on 3rd down. Now, Virginia Tech wants to get some points out of this. Points talking 6, not 3.
Motley, end zone, Phillips, the touchdown. Frank Beamer's Hokies answer. with a Brendan Motley touchdown pass to the sophomore Cam Phillips.
Again, the blitz is picked up. Time for Motley this time. And he has shown when given time, he can whip it around the yard. They've got to protect. Pittsburgh comes with the blitz. It gets picked up. And it's the first points of the day for the Hokies. Look at that protection for Motley. And Motley and the crew are both excited. We've got some live wires here in Lane Stadium.
10-7, Pittsburgh the lead, Virginia Tech on the board, and the first momentum of the day now, James, for Frank Beamer's team.
Yeah, a little jump around. House of Pain will get them popping if Metallica won't off the top. And, hey, Motley, they didn't think early on that he was the passer that Michael Brewer was. Admittedly, you know, we probably have about 12 more passes in the game plan each time Brewer's out there. And they look to get Brewer back maybe next week, within the next couple weeks for sure. But he's growing so much week to week, and he's starting to throw, you know, the intermediate route. You saw the touch route, the interference Buckley incomplete earlier. He can do it all.
Pittsburgh will play from its 25, and let's check in with Jen.
Well, I love James Bates bringing out a little Motley Crew, Bates. You know I love that. It also gets me to my favorite Twitter handle in the ACC, Brendan Motley, @MotleyCrew. Now, I was a tad bit disappointed to find out he pretty much has no idea who Motley Crew is or what any of their songs are, but we know about it. Pete Morris, Associate AD, put "Kickstart My Heart" in the front page of the notes. He just kickstarted the hearts of all the Hokie fans right now.
James on first down, back to the line of scrimmage. James, we truly did discover yesterday, as you see the sophomore Chris James from Chicago on the carry, just how old we are when we were talking to Brendan Motley, who really didn't know anything at all about Nicky Six and the boys, did he?
I guess so, but you know what? When you come to Lane Stadium, you better appreciate that the rock and roll of that era, because they come at you with a little AC/DC. Of course, Enter Sandman is what the opening of these games is known for. Metallica, Motley Crue as well. Now the defense starting to get after it. A big drop there after the score. Let's see if they can get a 3 and out here. That would be huge.
Peterman had the touchdown pass, and now the carry on 2nd and 10. And he got slowed down by Mook Reynolds out of the Virginia Tech secondary. That'll bring up 3rd down. And our Hardy star to watch today are these two quarterbacks if Pat Narduzzi throws at you.
Yeah, and you know the changeup. Peterman, we just saw him run right there a couple times. He's had some big scampers, but Chad Boychuk, mentioned earlier, had the 118 in the win for Pitt over Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh last year. He's the better of the two running it, but Peterman can get you what you need, and let's see if they can get what they need right now, and that's to move those chains, moving that ball up to the 35-yard line for a first on big 3rd and 5.
They swap Weah to the perimeter. Boyd on an inside slot. Peterman looking for Boyd in the catch. First down at the 40-yard line in front of the freshman Reynolds goes Tyler Boyd. 6'2", 200-pound junior from Clareton, PA. He's had 100 yards or more in 6 of his last 8 games.
And this is the kind of productivity. Look, the rush comes from the edge. You've got pressure coming from the edges. Peterman, nice and calm, comfortable. The graduate transfer from Tennessee just steps up in the pocket. Boyd is open beyond the sticks, and they complete and they move it. It's productivity that has won them this starting job for Pitt. And he's showing you why right there. Good protection up front in the middle as well.
Boy, look at this lineup. Look at this formation, trying to run it with James and the Hokies. Little man up football there. Chuck Clark, the safety, was down on the line. James, you don't see that look much.
Hey, you don't, but you know what? That is just what you get from Bud Foster. They've been going a lot more bare, a lot more man-to-man up front, but just stacked, and it really can confuse an offensive front. When you bring all those bodies up on the offensive line and bunch them together, it's Pat Narduzzi, too, that said, you know, ideally we're a pro-oriented offense, 22 personnel.
Peterman under duress and a fumble. Pittsburgh back on it, I believe. But Tua Pawaka is the guy that broke through and knocked it away.
Wow, welcome back to the middle linebacker, Motua Puwaka. And again, just runs right by Vowell. You got to slow him up a little bit. Peterman can't even get his feet set, and he's already right there in his lap. A huge drop to take him way back and make it 3rd down and forever. Now, there is one thing about this offense. Expect draw here. Expect, and even in a 3rd down and 10, 3rd down and 12 for Pittsburgh, they're not a big throw team on 3rd down and long. So alert to the draw or a little screen here.
Juggled the snap, and a hand to James, got a yard or 2.
This is an exciting football game. This is fun. You knew you were going to get just that. Even coming off the loss to ECU for Virginia Tech last weekend, even though the tough loss to Iowa 2 weeks ago for Pitt last time they played, you knew these two were going to enter ACC play ready to get after it, buckle up those chin straps and smash a little bit. Shoot, it's early on, but you can tell this is going to be good from start to finish.
Greg Stroman, the sophomore, Bristow, Virginia. Boy, the Hokies came within an eyelash of getting that one. Chuck Clark almost there, and Stroman will let it hit. Pittsburgh will down it inside the 30. Well, momentum now, clearly with the home team. Andrew Motua Puwaka. And they force a Pittsburgh punt.
ACC College Football is brought to you by the Works Trivac 3-in-1 Compact Blower, Mulcher, Vacuum. Leaves are falling. It's Works season.
Well, leaves starting to turn already on this first Saturday in October in Southwest Virginia. We welcome you back to Blacksburg, Worship Field at Lane Stadium, and a rain-soaked crowd looking on for Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech here in the Coastal Division. And there is 68-year-old Frank Beamer, leader in active career wins in college football with 275. Ahead of the ball coach at 228, Brian Kelly 220, and Dennis Franchione 211 as play begins today. Off the 28 from Motley and the Hokies. And here's Coleman trying to sweep. Grigsby having none of it. It'll be 2nd down. Good play by Nicholas Grigsby. Staying home. 1st down has been a problem for Virginia Tech here today so far, James. Usually you talk about momentum downs. Clearly no momentum for Virginia Tech on 1st down most of this day. That's a loss on the play of 3.
And guys like Nicholas Grigsby will do that to you. Grigsby, one of only 11 seniors on this team. What a great leader to have. The residual effect for Pat Narduzzi's team will be there for a long time. Hard workers like the one out of Trotwood, Ohio. Nice play there in the open field.
Phillips in motion. Here's Motley to throw on 2nd down, and Cam Phillips a catch. And back near the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard further in front of Avante Maddox, sophomore from Detroit. There's Brendan Motley, who his uncle, Donald Wayne Snell, played here in the 80s. And now he grew up a Hokie fan.
Watch the pickup. Watch Sam Rogers step up here, pick up these blitzers. Good job to give Motley time. Hokie fans are holding their breath because you saw Brendan Motley shaking that left hand. Well, you got to keep him healthy. Dwayne Lawson has a bright future, but he's just a freshman. And Coach Leffler admitted yesterday he's not quite ready to play the whole deal.
Motley in trouble again. He'll be sacked. Galambos, the middle linebacker. Another sack for the Panthers. They're 3rd already in this 1st half.
Again, a nice little delay. You hold up, you confuse the guys up front, you put a body on them, and then you just wrap around Galambos with the little game up front. Boom, right up the gut. And both of these linebacking cores have really been active here today. It's been fun to watch.
3 and out for Virginia Tech. Hughes the punt. Boyd, 34-yard line. Steps out of 2 tackles. And back to about the 37 goes Tyler Boyd. 5 minutes and change to go. 1st half in Blacksburg. 3-point lead for the Panthers. Well, 10-7 Pittsburgh. We welcome you back to ACC football. Week 5 action, and our cameras are here in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech trailed 10-0, a touchdown pass. Brendan Motley to Cam Phillips a moment ago, but a 3-and-out for Frank Beamer's team on their last possession. Pittsburgh takes over, and it's 37. And Peterman, maybe a yard. Got hammered by Chuck Clark.
And Chuck Clark down on himself a little bit after last week. Missed a couple of those open field tackles, but he lowers the shoulder and makes sure he wraps up and drops Peterman in a hurry here. Nowhere for him to go.
Well, this ball game today, conditions are really dictating a lot of it. Pittsburgh's only attempted 2 passes, James, and one was the Peterman to Holtz touchdown catch. And the backside catch made. That's Dantes Ford hauling it in front of Terrell Edmonds. Still about halfway to the first down chain, though.
Well, and that's good to see. You saw the Holtz touchdown catch. Of course, they're going to target Tyler Boyd. But other than that, there really haven't been a lot of guys to catch footballs. You can't just have a 2-man show. You got to be able to spread it around a little bit. And guys like Dantes Ford have got to chip in. Guys like Zeiss as well, 28.
Peterman goes to the gun, 3rd down and 5. And he'll throw here. Hokies trying to get there. Flush from the pocket and won't get it. Daddy Nicholas making his 19th career start in his 41st game.
He doesn't like me much right now. I've been pushing him a lot. Well, you know what? Bud Foster, you're going to like your guy right now, defensive end, Daddy Nicholas. Watch 90. Watch him open up and take the proper angle. This is a guy that just played 1 year of high school football. All these things are still kind of raw and even new to him. Fortunately, you get a good coach like Foster and his assistants. That's a huge play.
Almost blocked that time off the foot of Winslow. Here is Stroman. Tried to get a wall set. Pittsburgh caved that in. And Greg Stroman is able to get back to the 23 before Galambos makes the stop for Pittsburgh. That'll take us to a timeout. Oh, yes, we're broadcasting today from 21 Beamer Way in Blacksburg. Three-point game. Just better than 3 minutes to go here in this first half at Blacksburg. ACC football on a Saturday with James Bates, Jen Hildreth, our producer Dave Berenger, our director Gary Clem, and our wonderful crew. Hard-working folks now. Had to do it yesterday in less than ideal conditions to bring you Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. And Brendan Motley back out there. Sam Rogers in the backfield with it. A tight end, 2 backs, and 2 receivers in this set for Leffler's offense. McMillan looking right side. Whoa, look out with Maddox trying to form tackle him. Trayvon McMillan tried to drop a left shoulder on Avonte Maddox. And it will be 2nd down coming up for Virginia Tech at about 6 yards for the first down.
Watch over on the left side of your screen to clear the way. Sam Rogers doing a good job of picking up Bam Bradley coming off the edge and running him by. And there's your pickup on 1st down. That's fine. You give me 4 on 1st down. Take that all day long.
Hokies wanted a timeout here.
Timeout. Virginia Tech. It's a 30-second timeout. This is the first charge timeout.
Frank Beamer runs his first timeout. And while he visits with Brendan Motley, Jen, you've got a story about another quarterback.
Yeah, I wanted to give you guys an update on Michael Brewer. I had a chance to talk to him before the game today. Of course, he broke that collarbone in the opener against Ohio State. He told me at the time the prognosis was 4 to 8 weeks. He said 4 weeks will be Tuesday, but he won't really know for sure until Monday when he has his next x-ray. He said he's feeling pretty good. He's been throwing, he's been running. What he's waiting on is that contact. Needs to get the clearance from the doctor to make sure he is cleared to get out there full contact. He told me he's hoping to be back by NC State next week, but it's going to make that doctor's appointment on Monday that'll probably be the determining factor.
Well, no question, because the Wolfpack is here on Friday night. NC State here Friday night to beat Virginia Tech. Out of the timeout, and Motley underthrows Bucky Hodges. on the far side. You remember Labor Day night, Virginia Tech had rallied at halftime and early second half. Oh, big Washington of the Buckeyes fires through, and Motley came right down on that left shoulder, broken clavicle, surgery the next day, James. Great statement by the young man, though, to be ready to play about a month later or so.
Well, absolutely. And you know what? I still believe that play doesn't happen. We may have a different number one in college football right now, because I think that the mighty Buckeyes go down on week one. All the momentum in the house was on the side of the Hokies, and it really took a lot out of this football team, and nothing against Brendan Motley, but it was just the Brewers show at that point.
Here's Motley on third down now. Loads and throws. Intercepted Maddox. Avonte Maddox comes up with his first interception of the year. For Pittsburgh, it's their second takeaway on a pick to go with a fumble. They came in -3 takeaway giveaway, and Beamer's team has the turnover.
Well, we brag on Motley, went incomplete, missed Buckley on one, and here he's just eyeing down Malik the entire time. And playing off a little bit is Maddox, a tough guy against the run, even tougher against the pass game. What a great job to get off the spot and go get that one and pull it in, and give his Pitt Panthers a chance here with plenty of time, 2:36, to put some more points on the board before halftime, already leading by 3.
How aggressive will offensive coordinator Jim Chaney get here with Nate Peterman? Gonna throw on first down. Pocket collapsing, and he'll hang it up into the Panther bench area. Boy, Ronnie Van Dyke had it turned up. Luther Maddie had the volume all the way up. And they were eyeballing number 4 in the gold helmet.
Let's check that interception again. Here's Maddox down at the bottom. Watch, he's going to sit on his receiver, but he looks back into the backfield, and he's reading the eyes. And the eyes of Motley are eyeing up Malik the entire time. Squats on it, opens up, bursts and goes and corrals that football for a nice big play. But can they do anything with it offensively now?
First incomplete pass of the day, and now Pittsburgh timeout for Nate Peterman.
Timeout. Pitt. It's the first choice timeout. It's a 30-second timeout.
Well, Peterman will go over and visit with Pat Narduzzi. Quick chance for us to tell you about the Week 5 stories in the ACC. And, of course, a lot of eyes tonight and this afternoon on NC State. 7 rushing scores last Saturday night against South Alabama. They're playing Louisville. Marquise Williams, Mitch Trubisky today in Atlanta against Georgia Tech for Carolina. And then tonight, oh, the first time since the days of Steve Fuller, Vegas Ferguson, Luther Bradley for the Irish and the Clemson Tigers. And how about Jim Cantore, Bates? He gets our Toyota Tweet of the Week.
Hey, I think Jim Cantore, you know how fired up he gets when the weather systems come through like this. There you go, football fans. Meteorologist. It's not just Jen Hildreth, the meteorologist around here. Jim Cantore, of course, taking care of you.
I think Jen's our adjunct meteorologist today here in Blacksburg. Out of the timeout. Well played. Hokies rally to the ball. Woody Barron, member, came in after Marshall was injured early in this ball game, and junior from Nashville has played awfully well in that defensive front of Bud Foster's defense.
You know, and that's a nice job by Foster's D, because this is something last year Wojcik and company, they came in with some option that Virginia Tech hadn't seen on tape at all prior to that game. Ready for it that time, forcing a 3rd down and long.
James in the backfield. Pittsburgh just 2 of 5 on 3rd down. Peterman to throw. And what a catch. Sliding grab of Boyd in between Alexander and Clark. And a first down for Pittsburgh.
And a nice strong throw. Peterman was actually looked to be leaning down, falling down, didn't have his feet underneath him, but he knew he had his guy Boyd. Good protection at first. The pressure comes late. He's falling away and going down and running that route, making sure the junior Boyd finds those sticks and moves the chains.
Flag thrown. First down throw is caught. Chester Weah, redshirt sophomore at 6'3" from Madison, Wisconsin to catch. Donovan Riley there for Virginia Tech, but Ron Cherry.
Typical formation, 5 players in the backfield on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
5th penalty in the first half on Pittsburgh, and Pat Narduzzi doesn't like that either.
That's a momentum killer as he looks up at the clock with 1:21 left. You're moving the football. Hey, how about the Big Ten stamp influence that you're seeing recruiting-wise now, too? We, a guy from Madison. Chris James is from Chicago, Illinois. That's a nice luxury that you don't see too much in the ACC.
Well, Maddox from Detroit, who had the interception a moment ago. Peterman to throw. First and long after the penalty. Buying time. Now Barron gives chase. Got away from Matty and incomplete. Far side. Holtz was there for Pittsburgh, but Peterman was just trying to get him back square, James.
And it was a good job by the quarterback to give yourself another chance. That's just the first down play. Now you got a second down at 15. If nothing else, try to get yourself 3 out of this. This game's going to go back and forth, and it could come down to a field goal. Get all the points you can. But if you take a sack there for a big drop, you may have just kind of taken yourself out of a chance to put some points on the board. Still 2 timeouts for each of these teams. And a second down and 15 now.
Too tight set. Orndorff's come in the ball game. He and Holtz to the right. The single back Ollison. Pressure again, and he'll be sacked. Chuck Clark, the free safety. Boy, he had to run a long way, James.
Virginia Tech now. They're going to need to watch that clock. If I'm Virginia Tech, I absolutely want them to punt this football. Here you see the glove on the hand of Peterman in these wet conditions. The blitz coming from Chuck Clark off the edge. Nobody there for him. Runs right into the quarterback. So if I'm Pittsburgh, I want to sneak into the locker room now just without anything interesting happening. Remember, this is a punt block team that's almost gotten 2 in this game for Virginia Tech. So watch for the timeout.
They're going to throw the ball here. Peterman put it up for grabs, incomplete. Barron and Luther Matty hammered Nate Peterman. Incomplete pass with 12 seconds left.
And that is why Pat Narduzzi does not like to throw on 3rd down and long. He knows he's that defensive coordinator mindset. He knows when it's 3rd and long, it's pass down. It's 3rd and down, I'm going to bring the blitz. I'm going to try to force a turnover, and it almost happens right here. Usually you don't get that out of him because of that very thing. Peterman lucky to get it back, and here comes the punt team. Remember, that's what Beamer Ball does. They block punts, and they've almost got a couple.
Winslow gets this away. Stroman going to let it hit. And it will get into the end zone at the north end with just 5 seconds left. So a 3-point lead and probably 1 snap left. Don't forget, this is game 1 of 2 today in the ACC. Coming up next, Steven Dazio's hard-hitting defense is at Wallace Wade Stadium in Brooksfield to meet the Blue Devils of Duke, coming off their big win. And the National Defensive Player of the Week, Jeremy Cash. And the Blue Devils, who shut down Justin Thomas and the Yellow Jackets last week. Tom Wormy, Obi Mihaly, Mickey Noto, and a hat coming up at Wallace Wade Stadium. And there's Harold Landry, the fine defensive end, who we'll see next Saturday against Wake Forest.
Looking forward to it. Boy, has he had a good year.
Yes, he has.
For Don Brown and that defense. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that game, and I'm looking forward to seeing that hat. It's like a moonshiner's hat that Mickey Noto's been sporting there in Durham.
Well, everybody working sides today's got to have that extra gear, don't they? Well, 1 snap for the Hokies. Locker room time for Virginia Tech. And Pittsburgh will take a 3-point lead. Pat Narduzzi's ACC debut today here in Blacksburg. And the Panther head man is alongside Jen Hildreth.
Thanks, West Coach. Your first half of ACC football, 3-point lead. What do you think so far?
Well, so far so good, but we got to do a better job protecting our quarterback. We got after their quarterback as well, so I think whoever's going to win this game is going to be the team that can protect the quarterback in the second half and run the ball better.
Do you think you found the right mix in terms of using your 2 quarterbacks?
Yeah, I really like it. Chad gives you a different element in running the football, and he can throw it too, and Nathan's done a solid job. We just got to give him some protection.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, from a coaching family, his dad a fine head coach. And Pat Narduzzi underway in the ACC.
College football is brought to you by the Tex-Mex Bacon Thick Burger, only at Hardee's. Honda Generators. And FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
Welcome back to Blacksburg, and it's time for the Hyundai Halftime Report. And here at the half, Pittsburgh has a 10-7 lead on Virginia Tech. Welcome back upstairs to the booth. West Durham here at the break. Pittsburgh the 3-point lead on the touchdown pass from Nate Peterman to J.P. Holtz. Plenty to come for you here at the break. Olivia Harlan standing by with a story about a NASCAR star who's also a big college football fan.
Thank you, Wes. You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the middle of pursuing his first NASCAR Sprint Cup title. However, he's a big college football fan. Thursday, Earnhardt stopped by the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, and while he was touring the Hall of Fame, Earnhardt surprised one of his fans, an incredible child from the Cure for Childhood Cancer program.
I got you this hat from Talladega Super Speedway. That's who brought me here today.
I still can't believe he's just sitting next to me. I feel like this is all a dream. So, I mean, literally, somebody pinch me right now. I'm not dreaming.
To meet Austin today and here at the College Football Hall of Fame is it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to walking around with Austin and seeing what this place is all about.
You're going to be coming to Talladega on October 25th to watch him race, and we've got tickets for you for coming to the race. And you didn't hear him, but he's going to actually put you on top of his pit box during the race when we start the race down on with his pit crew.
Yeah, so you'll get to sit on top of the pit box during the race with Greg, my crew chief, and you can sit there and watch him call the shots, and the race will be going on right there in front of you.
My gosh, I
mean, I'm excited for Austin to be able to come to his first race, and I just hope that we can do a good job on the racetrack to make that day memorable for him. With you on top of the pit box, it's probably going to be the little extra that we need.
first time I ever saw a NASCAR race. I've always been into Dale, and I've always wanted to go to a race, and it's just a dream come true.
Great stuff. Much more to come on the Hyundai Halftime Report. We preview Game 2 of our doubleheader and tell you how Duke cashed in on a great performance last week after this timeout.
Welcome back to Blacksburg. It's the ACC opener for both Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech, and we're at halftime. Let's join Olivia Harlan.
Welcome back to the Hyundai Halftime Report. I'm Olivia Harlan. Now, coming up after Pitt and Virginia Tech, we take you to Durham, North Carolina. The Duke Blue Devils are hosting the Boston College Eagles. BC boasts the best defense in the nation, but hey, Duke's defense isn't too shabby either. Last week in Duke's 34-20 win over Georgia Tech, Cash was king for the Blue Devils. That's safety Jeremy Cash. He had a heck of a game last week, leading Duke with 12 tackles, 3 behind the line of scrimmage. Cash harassed Yellow Jacket quarterback Justin Thomas all day with 4 quarterback hurries and forced 2 fumbles. The fifth-year senior didn't have Duke on his radar screen out of high school. Ohio State was his destination, but after Jim Tressel resigned as head coach, Cash decided to transfer.
I talked to Coach Tressel. He was the individual that I intended on playing for at Ohio State. Obviously, that didn't work out. And once the season was over, I talked to him, and he recommended that I go play for Duke. I really didn't know anything about the program at all, outside of the reputation they have for basketball. But on a whim, I went down there, and it just happened to work out in my favor.
It's been a great transition for him. The institution, the coaches that he's been surrounded by, certainly the teammates and friends, it's changed. It's been life-changing for Jeremy. And he's also a bright guy, and what we talked about, Jeremy knows football's not going to last forever.
At some point, you do have to take off the pads for the last time, and there is a future after that.
Hey, we worked too hard for this, gentlemen. Through the winter, through the spring, through the summer. This is what we work for. All day.
Duke's defensive backs play like a pack of cheetahs on the hunt, known as the Coalition.
We are the Coalition. However, there are different cats, I would say, that are in the jungle, because they're cheetahs and I would consider myself a leopard.
That's the one you don't want to fight with. They can all run, but the leopard can stop and fight if you need him to, and that's kind of the MO of Jerry.
Momentum of the game. If maybe we're kind of a little shaky and we just need pick-me-up, so to speak, I would rather it be a run play so that I can just demolish someone. Or it just happens to be a pass and they're coming across the middle and I just happen to be standing there. I mean, just looking for that wow factor, just to get everyone hyped up and re-energized.
Now, Jeremy Cash has already earned his degree in psychology and is pursuing a graduate degree in liberal studies. It's Boston College and Duke in the second game of our doubleheader. Coverage beginning at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, so check your local listings. Let's get you back out to Lane Stadium in Blacksburg for the second half of Pitt and Virginia Tech after this.
Only the tested and hardy are at Lane Stadium today for Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech with James Bates, Wes Durham. Jen Hildreth will join us here in just a moment. Interesting first half. Early momentum for the Panthers, who scored 10 straight to start the game.
I think it'll be equally as interesting to start this second half, because Pitt's going to get the ball to open the second half, and it's just what these two teams had to work on this week. Tackling for Virginia Tech and running the football, blocking for Pittsburgh. We'll see who sets the tone in the second half as we go back and look at these first half stats. Sacks. Somebody has got to pick up these blitzers. Each team has given up 3 sacks, and Pittsburgh dodged a bullet on that sack. Peterman was stripped of the ball, lucky to get it back, take care of the football, and take care of those penalties.
You see the 9 combined penalties in the first half. Panthers will have it with a 3-point lead when we come back to Blacksburg. Big plays both ways in the first half. We get ready for the second half kick in Blacksburg, and Jen has found the head man at the Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer. And Tyler Boyd off the kick from Slide. 25, Boyd lowers his shoulder to the 30, maybe 31, and now here's Jen with Coach Beamer.
Well, Coach, tough for either team to really move the ball that first half. Just 17 yards rushing for you guys. How do you do a better job offensively?
Yeah, they're tough against the rush. You get to feel a little soggy and all. But I think we got a good plan for the second half, and we'll see what happens here.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate Coach Beamer stopping by. Pittsburgh starts off its 32. Peterman, the quarterback. Aston is the fullback. Olison is the running back. Kadri Olison. Very limited in the first half, James. We'll start the second half. Here's the big fella breaking free. Far side goes Olison. Taken out of bounds near the 25 by Adonis Alexander. Maybe I should have said something earlier.
Good collisions up front across the line, but when you walk all those bodies up, you talk about this Bear defense, you talk about these guys walked up in the gaps here for Virginia Tech. If you get past that initial wave, that initial line, you get a couple key blocks, and then there's nobody left for quite some time, and taking advantage of it, Olison and this Panther offense. First play from scrimmage.
61 yards on 4 carries. Here's carry number 5, and the big fella keeps his feet. 2 plays and a touchdown. 25-yard run for his 3rd score of the year.
You better believe Pat Narduzzi, Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, that coaching staff was reminding these guys up front for Pitt what we had worked on the entire bye week, the entire time off. We've got to be more physical. We've got to block. We've got to run the football. That's all they worked on the last couple of weeks as the extra point goes through. Got a chance to remind them at halftime, and they go out and they do just that, run it right down the throats of the Hokie defense. Look at the big guys up front. Look at the bodies in the maroon jerseys going down to the floor, And 37, the freshman, Quadri Olison, punching it in. Just a couple quick plays, and Pittsburgh rolling here early in the second half.
ACC College Football is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC, Bojangles, Haviland, and Food Lion.
A couple of big snaps for the Panthers, and their lead back to 10 at 17-7. And James, we didn't quite get to our FanDuel huddle up for the second half, but we will just as soon as Chris Blewett kicks it away here.
Yeah, rudely.
Olison just handled the tempo of the game, didn't he?
How rude was that? Didn't give us enough time.
Enough time to set up the second half adjustments before Pittsburgh's on the board. And here is the FanDuel huddle up for half number 2, James.
All right, well, starting with the Pitt Panthers, hold on to that football. Had a couple drops, fortunately for the Panthers, went their way. Don't let a turnover decide the outcome of this game. And not just Virginia Tech, but both of these teams need to protect their quarterbacks. 3 sacks for each defense, so they've got to pick up those blitzers. That's your FanDuel huddle up game plan for the second half.
J.C. Coleman in the sidecar alongside Brendan Motley. And Coleman on first down for maybe 2 yards. And let's check in with Jen as Matt Galambos made the stop.
Well, Wes, when I talked to Frank Beamer, you heard him say he felt they had a good plan for the second half. Well, I heard from Andrew Allegrado, who works for Virginia Tech Radio. He talked to associate head coach Shane Beamer, got a little more in detail, said they felt that they got a lot more pressure than they expected in the first half, and they expected a lot, but they felt if they could do a better job in protection, there were some opportunities downfield.
All right. Here's Trayvon McMillan, exciting young player for the Hokies, bouncing off a couple of tackles and a first down for the Hokies to start this second half out to the 42-yard line. A lot to like about McMillan, James. 6 foot, 194-pound redshirt freshman, former All-State quarterback.
And I really like this play call. I like they've run it a couple times in the first half, and you've got both McMillan and Sam Rogers in the backfield. Basically, you're putting the ball in the hands of McMillan, but you're putting your trust in Rogers to clear the way, and he's done it every time it's been asked of him. He's done a great job of kicking out the first guy.
Averaging better than 7 yards a carry today. Motley trying to throw out of pressure and incomplete. McMillan was the check down guy. I think it was Hodges and Phillips downfield, but Tyreek Jarrett and Rory Blair were pressuring
Watch
him.
Rory Blair. We bragged on Rogers quite a bit, but he's not quite as big as 6'4", 240-pound Rory Blair. Blair just walks him straight back, gets underneath him, powers him, and lucky to get that ball out of there was Motley. That's a nice, strong guy, defensive end, just a sophomore from right there in Pittsburgh.
Second in the full 10 for the Hokies. That's Ford in motion. And here's McMillan trying to bounce away. Matt Galambos, who had the bone, the dog bone, the cow bone this week off the Pat Narduzzi's defense. It's a sledgehammer for the offense and the bone for the defense, and Galambos has been carrying around the cow bone all week.
Well, Galambos and company, who's going to get the bone right here? 3rd and 9. You imagine the momentum for Pitt if they can get off of the field with a nice stop here. If they bring them, you better get to them, because last time it was picked up on a 3rd down and 14. Virginia Tech converted in the first half, and they're going to back them out and just bring 4.
Motley up in the pocket, going to run with it. And it'll be a yard or 2 shy of the first down. Grigsby, big number 3, races across to get Brendan Motley at the midfield line, or near the midfield line, and it'll be a punt for the Hokies for A.J. Hughes.
Nice job by Grigsby, Maddox, both putting a tough quarterback in Motley when he turns it on the ground, and the Vice dropping him, getting off the field. That's a nice stop.
Tyler Boyd stands at the 14. Hughes hangs it high. Virginia Tech trying to get down there. And making the play at the goal line for the Hokies was Donovan Riley.
It's going to stay right here, Wes. Remember, in college football, It doesn't matter if a body part is past that goal line. It's just the imaginary plane of the ball going across the goal line. And it looks like it's a huge special teams play. Go figure. It's the Hokies after all. They'll take a look at it, but it looks like it's going to stay right there.
Well, they did take a look at it, James. Play stands, so here is Pittsburgh after a great play by Donovan Riley.
Oh, great job. The ball got there fast, so he couldn't quite get his back turned, but he knew exactly what to do. A couple officials right there on the spot. They saw it. It was confirmed after the replay, and now a long way to go for Pat Narduzzi's team. First things first, they got to try and get a first down. Bud Foster was happy with his hustle defensively, but the execution was lacking last week. They've got to execute now and get a stop of their own.
And Peterman just going to try and push the stack, and look at that. Jeez. A little more pushing the stack there. He got a forward roll out of Artie Rowell as center. 310-pound man there at the pivot, James.
Yeah, and right next to him, Officer and Johnson. Excuse me, Mr. Officer. Huh?
Unfortunately, buddy, I'm going to have to move here.
Oh, man. Boy, that was... How about that for saying, hey, we're going to be just fine. Here comes Wojcik back in.
Oh, well, this is going to be interesting here because Jamar Parrish.
False start. Offense, number 63. Half distance, there we go.
Well, Officer, who you spoke of a moment ago, is 63. 31 is Jamar Parrish, who's like the third tight end, more of a blocker than a catcher of the football for Pat Narduzzi. And he exchanged just as Officer did. Now, they saw Officer move, but Parrish just stepped up on the line. They were dropping another guy.
And here he is down on the end. They're pointing at him. So either way, you go back 5 yards.
Yep. And knocked back is Peterman.
See, that's the type.
That's what you thought when you were pushing on the first play.
That's the type of aggressiveness that they needed on first down. They get the penalty to help them out. But what a crusher for Pitt. You go out there and you drive it from your back to your goal line. You drive it 7 yards just on a quarterback sneak up the middle. Right. 5 yards takes you back, and that's that pre-snap killer. Now you've got a 3rd down and 7. You got a team that doesn't like to take chances in 3rd down and long. Again, what you've seen on tape, be alert for the draw. Be alert for a screen. Something simple. They don't want to turn it over here.
Panthers 3 of 7 on 3rd down. Boyd the catch and the first down. Tyler Boyd to nearly the 14-yard line. Adonis Alexander, the true freshman who enrolled last January, made the stop.
Here on this series, we've seen them impose their will up front on the offensive line on the run. This time they give Peterman plenty of time protection. Look at the protection up front. Enough to let Boyd come out of his break, and you've got 2 guys on him. And so many times today, we've seen the junior Tyler Boyd double covered. He just comes out of those breaks, and when Peterman can find him, he's doing damage.
1st and 10. Olesen had the big runs to start the second half. It's about 5 here on 1st down toward the 19. Boy, Kadri Olesen, look at the frame, 6'2", 230.
Got some pretty big cleats to fill there in Pittsburgh, and the ACC Player of the Year, James Conner, that went down in game number 1. He's looking Conner-like in the second half, and that offensive line certainly makes you look pretty good. Only 2 plays out of the halftime locker room, and Pittsburgh marched it right down. Olesen on both carries to score.
91 yards in the score, and almost was able to step out of Adonis Alexander's swiping tackle again was Olesen. You know, it's interesting. We talked to Bud Foster at length yesterday. Seen the East Carolina game, the Purdue game. Now with Kendall Fuller done for the year with the knee injury, James, boy, you really do look on paper. Brandon Faison missed all last year with an injury. Had a great freshman season. Alexander's a freshman. Chuck Clark's about the most veteran piece they've got back there. Terrell Edmonds, a redshirt freshman. Stroman, a sophomore. Luke Reynolds, a true freshman. That's a young secondary for Bud Foster's team. And that'll be enough for the first down. Peterman just moving the stack again. And it was interesting because more than once we heard both Frank Beamer and Bud Foster say, a lot of potential, a lot of talent, just not a lot of experience with these guys in that secondary.
And when you look at the offensive side of the ball, they're a lot better than they were last year. There's just not a lot of depth.
Right.
So you got some of those guys that get worn down in the second half. But defensively, you got to get off the field.
Here's Olison. Ball popped loose, scooped up. Terrell Edmonds. A fumble by Pittsburgh. Their first turnover of the day.
And there you go. Who's filling in for Kendall Fuller? Well, they're missing Kendall Fuller, his leadership, his big playmaking ability. You got to get off the field. Well, this certainly will work. There's Edmonds. He's going to get driven out. The ball's going to come out. It is definitely a fumble. As you see, Motua Puaka, who pops it out with his right hand. And falling on it is Terrell Edmonds, the backup to Kendall Fuller. Motua Puaka, they just got him back here today, and he's made some big plays in this game. None bigger than this, though, that turned the tide when Pitt seemed to be rolling again.
So Edmonds, the fumble recovery. And Ron Cherry over here to the Virginia Tech bench area to get on the headset. The replay technician, Eric Anderson. The communicator is Bruce Palmer. The technical advisor today is Ted Jackson. And they will take their look at it. 4 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble today for Motua Puaka.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
That should go down as the second forced fumble for Motua Puaka, because on that sack, he raked the ball away from Nathan Peterman. Peterman lucky to fall on that one. No such luck here for the Pitt Panthers. Boom, you're going to see the hand. He's just going to knock it out. A couple weeks ago, we talked about that ball disruption. Ball disruption. Up in Syracuse, going after that football. And you better believe that Bud Foster, they work on getting that football out of there and creating turnovers every single day in defense.
Hodges in a slot to the right. Motley looking to throw, and a sack. Wow. Price, the defensive end, Ewan Price, senior from Rankin, PA. Talk about timing.
Well, and you got to get a body on him. Left tackle, Jonathan McLaughlin has had a rough day. There have been a couple times where these defensive ends and linebackers have run right by him. You get a big turnover, you've got all the momentum in the world. Looking at a 10-point deficit, you can't go backwards and let a guy just come run free on your quarterback and take a big pop, especially when you're trying to keep him upright and keep him healthy. You've already got Michael Brewer that's gone down.
4th sack of the day for Pittsburgh, and now Virginia Tech will take a timeout.
Virginia Tech. It's the first charge timeout of the second half.
You mentioned the tough day for McLaughlin, and he's being pushed by Joshua Nijman, a redshirt freshman at 6'7", who has also been getting some reps at that left tackle spot too.
Well, and unfortunately, you've seen why. It's you can't let a guy come on your quarterback's blind side, just run scot-free like we've seen a couple times. And that's, that's a guy in Ewan Price he was questionable coming in this week. He's had a quad injury that he's been dealing with, been banged up a little bit. But these two defensive lines have really shown some pop and some good leverage in getting off and attacking those offensive linemen. We saw Blair have a nice rush earlier for a sack, or knocked a ball down, rather.
Right.
Tyreek Jarrett, Pat Narduzzi said when he was describing 54, his defensive tackle, he described him as this. He said, he's a guy that likes to slam people to the ground.
Yeah.
Only in football can that be okay.
Did you ever play with guys that just like to slam people to the ground?
Oh, yeah. It's
not an an everyday guy, is it?
It's always the defensive guy, usually, too, like to slip.
Well, out of the sack by Juan Price. Here's Motley now, second long for the Hokies after the fumble recovered by Edmonds. Motley going to loop it for Hodges. And overthrown. He and Webb battling.
Well, I don't know how this is an offensive pass interference. Buckley, he had a lot of jerseys. Let's see. It's what it looked like first up from the booth. And there's Webb all tangled up. And what it was, it looked initially like Buckley was trying to swim and he just got caught up.
Yep.
They got their arms locked. So I think that could kind of go both ways, so it's a good no call, I guess, after seeing it.
2 of 7 on third down today is Virginia Tech. 3rd and 17 from Motley. He'll step up in the pocket, and wow, Grigsby blasted him at the 26.
I didn't catch a number. Grigsby cleans it up, but watch the open field tackle. I'll get a number here at the very end. Was it a 9? Jordan Whitehead, I think.
Whitehead too.
Jordan Whitehead comes in and does such a good job in open field. If Motley makes him miss, he may get a first down. That was a big, big play by the safety.
43-yard try for Sly. And the kick is good. 5 of 9 on the year is Joey Sly. 7-point game, 6:03 to play in the third at Blacksburg.
ACC College Football is brought to you by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football, and your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places.
Oh, always fun to see highlights from old fabled Pitt Stadium. And before he was Dorsett, he was Tony Dorsett. And he's named this week as Pittsburgh's ACC legend, James, for the football championship in Charlotte that first Saturday in December. And, of course, winner of the Heisman Trophy and a great NFL career.
We've seen some pretty good players in our flashbacks today. Bruce Smith earlier. Just wrecking things.
Okay, tell you how good 23 is in the white jersey today. They don't often use the Larry word when talking about wide receivers, but they're kind of using the Larry word when they talk about Tyler Boyd, who watches the kick from Sly sail over his head. Remember, this is game 1 of our doubleheader today. Next up, we'll take you to Durham. Wade Stadium, the venue. Tom Wormy, Obi Mahaley, Nicky Noto standing by for Steve Adazio and Boston College. And they'll meet the Duke Blue Devils. Fresh off the win over Georgia Tech last Saturday. And Jeremy Cash, the National Defensive Player of the Week. They're ready to go following our coverage today from Blacksburg. Should be a good one. It's one of 3 games at 3:30 in the conference. And there's the look at Cash from last Saturday. Pretty good day at the office for Jeremy.
Not just the best in the nation, that's the best in the world last week.
First down give. This is James. Maybe a yard or 2 working to the near side. Adonis Alexander the stop. 7-point game as we're working the final 6 minutes of quarter number 3. It's been a good quarter for Pittsburgh so far this year. They've outscored opponents now 31-13 after Olison's 25-yard touchdown run.
Man, 10 of those 31 points in the tough loss 2 weeks ago at Iowa. 10 points in the third quarter.
Play action to James. Looking for Orndorff, the tight end, to catch. Scott Orndorff, the junior, at 6'5", hauls it in over Brandon Faison for the first down.
You got everybody walked up, and James with the hard sell. Watch Peterman put the ball on his hip. That's Boomer Esiason type stuff. And letting Orndorff just run on beyond the defenders. Oh, that's excellent. Excellent height. He's really shown a lot of coolness in the pocket. He's shown that he's ahead. He's a great football mind. That's a perfect shot and a huge pickup for the Pitt Panthers.
6 of 9, 86 yards the score today for Peterman. Voitek back in at quarterback now. 1st and 10 in plus territory. And Alexander down in the box makes the stop after a yard maybe. Adonis Alexander, freshman from Charlotte. 2 interceptions coming into the day. But Chad Voitek has given Narduzzi that balance and able to play a little gamesmanship at quarterback between he and Peterman.
Yeah, and it's his hard work and his dedication to this team and not going in the tank and pouting because he's not the starter right now. That's affected him that he's really just been a team player through this.
Ball is loose. And I believe Pittsburgh has recovered it.
Well, what was my key there? The FanDuel huddle-up key at the half. Hold on to the football, Pittsburgh. They put it on the floor twice here already in the second half. After fumbling it twice in the first half, they got them both back in the first half. Only one of the two back here in the second half. That one lucky to pounce on.
How about your man, Artie Rowell? That's your kind of guy, Debates. Just look at it, huh? Big, wide, blocky center.
310-pounder. I bet you they got a lunchbox at his house, too.
Third down now. Peterman looping down the field and off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Jester Williams. Trying to find somebody else, not named Holtz, Orndorff, Ford, or Boyd.
You know what? A good job by Riley just staying there. Not a bad throw by Peterman. And one thing that you don't see goes all for naught, though, is Quadri Olison does a fantastic job on the blitz pickup. You know, sometimes freshmen, it takes them a while to get used to that. Motua Puaka came blitzing through there, and it was a late pickup, but a good one by Olison.
Punt coming for Winslow. Boy, the Hokies were all around it. Stroman will run off, and it'll get in the end zone. Virginia Tech will play from its 20. 42-yard punt. Pittsburgh's had a few bobbles today. Only one turnover, James.
Yeah, you don't expect that guy, Tyler Boyd, to put it down on the turf. Lucky to get that one back. Here's an interference call on decent coverage by Webb. He's got to snap that head around. Peterman, the blitz from Motua Puaka. And there's Motua Puaka again, the middle linebacker. Glad to have him back on the defensive side of the ball. Hokie fans, look at them swarm, but they've got to be consistent defensively for Virginia Tech. They have got to execute play after play after play and give their offenses more chances like they've started to do now.
Trey Edmonds in the backfield with Motley. He'll get the carry to the left side on first down for a couple of yards. Virginia Tech starting this possession averaging just about 2.7 yards per play. Pittsburgh's last possession, they were over 6, now down to 5.8. Even if it had been a perfect day, conditions-wise, James, this is kind of the ball game we thought we'd see, I think.
You know what? Absolutely. I don't think that really too much has been thought about as far as the weather. I don't think it's been as nasty as coaches thought it was going to be coming in either.
Motley off play action again. Up in the pocket. And he'll get a couple of yards scrambling out. K.K. Mosley-Smith wrapped him up. Galambos, Juan Price all there too. Boy, it's a hard-charging Panther defense.
It certainly is, and they pick it up initially. Again, there's time, but it's good coverage. Look at them double cover at the top of your screen, Hodges. They had 3 bodies sitting there waiting on Bucky Hodges. That's one thing that Urban Meyer and his defense did with Ohio State when they came in week 1. They took number 7 out of the game. On that second down, they took 7 out of the game and nowhere to go for the quarterback Motley, and he finally got dropped down.
Big third down play for Virginia Tech. Motley zips it to the far side. Ford the catch. Isaiah Ford the catch at the 32. The first catch of the day for Ford, averaging 5.5 receptions a game.
Well, finally they get number 1 involved, and you absolutely have to do this. A nice run just past the marker that they need to get. 19 catches, 300 yards, and 2 touchdowns coming in. How about that? -5 on first down, trying to change that around right now. Here's another opportunity. Get a lot of these big-time shifts, big adjustments, and trying to get guys out of position by Virginia Tech. Here's another.
Malik in motion. Motley going to throw here in the flat is Hodges. Look at the big fella now. Bucky Hodges a first down to the 45-yard line. Tight end doesn't even begin to describe the value Bucky Hodges has.
The guy can do it all. Watch Grisby come into the picture. That's just a look at the good job that Motley did as he takes the lick and gets rid of that football to his big target. one thing with Grigsby, he's made so many big plays, but the blocker got to his feet that time just enough to slow him down. He didn't cut him, didn't get him down on the turf, but he slowed him up just enough to create a huge scene for Bucky.
2 catches, 42 yards, and now McMillan got twisted around. It'll be a loss of 4 on the play. Juan Price in the backfield was the first Panther to get there.
Well, you could tell by the body language of Brendan Motley, they feel lucky to have this ball back, and almost got Trayvon McMillan banged up because of it. It wasn't a great exchange. They got tangled up a little bit, and McMillan fortunately popped back up, but he was twisted around when he was popped there and dropped for a 3-yard loss. That's a nice play defensively for Pitt.
Second down, 13. Motley under duress, buys time to his right. And now we'll just run out of bounds ahead of Shakir Soto, the backup behind Blair at defensive end.
You know, I don't know that we've given enough credit here so far today to this secondary of Pittsburgh. They've done a good job. There have been a couple times coverage-wise, there's just nowhere to go for Motley.
Yeah. And there is the final play of the 3rd period. We go to the 4th in Blacksburg. Kadri Olesen set the tone in quarter 3. A long touchdown run to give Pittsburgh a 7-point lead. Well, through 3 quarters of play, our Hyundai game summary, James, with Pittsburgh leading by a touchdown.
Yeah, big time winning in the rushing yards category, and it's thanks in large part to that offensive line and that guy right there, Olesen. 8 carries, 102 yards in that touchdown. That's more like it. That's more like that Youngstown State game when he had his debut, when James Conner went down and he just broke all those big ones. First carry as a Pitt Panther went for 46 yards, and his 3rd carry was a 71-yard touchdown run.
Kind of stuff they write books about.
Big 3rd down to start the 4th quarter. The Hokies got to stay on the field here.
Motley from the gun. Shoots it far side. What a catch, Ford! Near the mark at the 44.
Obviously, they'll go back and look at a couple things here, and I think one of them needs to be the mark itself. Doesn't look like he has it spotted as a 1st down. Okay, that's a... Can't see that right knee, but he definitely has the ball secured. That's going to be tough with that right knee because of the paint. But either way, if it is a catch, it is a 1st down. Those chains should move.
Joseph Greiser's the head linesman over there, James, who had the call.
Well, but Wes, therein lies the rub, because they'll go back and look at it and make sure.
The ruling on the previous catches that we had a catch on the previous play, excuse me, that play is under review.
Well, Mr. Cherry did not clarify if they're reviewing the catch or the spot or possibly both. The ruling on the field, though, he said is a catch. So it leads me to believe they're reviewing the catch of the ball, James, which I think we've already seen a couple replays, and this is the best one of it here, I think.
No, I think the best one is going to show you from behind and up. And if I'm a Hokie fan, I'm a little bit worried, because I think his right knee, it's a one.
Oh, they are looking at the spot as well, we're being told now.
But if we were to run this, everybody with navy blue rain slickers on is saying incomplete. Now, obviously, that's going to be their gut reaction.
So Pat Narduzzi and Frank Beamer wait here. And it might be a double whammy for Pittsburgh. It might be a catch and a 1st down. Isaiah Ford very quiet until the last possession, and now he may come up with a huge catch, James.
Yeah, it's either way, whether it stands or not. What an athletic play to lay out. Here's the angle I want to see, and this is what I'm talking about. If it stands as a catch, I really think that they're going to get lucky, because watch, the knee is down now.
Yep.
He's out of bounds. And such an incredible effort. And And there you see the coach right there with his headset on saying his knee was down. That was the first body part to hit. He secured that football. Here comes the call.
Well, the veteran Ron Cherry heads this ACC crew today.
After review, the ruling on the field is a catch confirmed. First down.
So the spot will be at the 46. And the 49-year-old first-year head coach of the Panthers not happy.
Well, not at all. Here's the look right down the line. And, you know, and what's funny about it is the language used. It wasn't just that it stands. It was that it's confirmed, which I still believe that the Hokies, they got a little treat there, early Halloween treat here in early October, but they'll take it, and they're marching. They need to go down and try to tie this game up now.
Deep shot. Motley for Hodges. And a flag thrown here on the near side at the 48-yard line. Robert Bassett, the line judge, talking to Ron Cherry.
Personal foul, 91 defense, 15 yards, first down.
Darrell Render, the defensive tackle.
There he is right here, walking back 72. That's Conti.
I guess hand up in the face mask, James.
Must have been.
Yeah.
I was waiting for something after the play, but that wasn't the case.
7 penalties now against Narduzzi's Panthers, 55 yards. Virginia Tech down a score early in period 4 here in Blacksburg. Soggy and rainy day at Lane Stadium in McMillan. Play got blown up in the backfield by Juan Price. 3 times now here in this second half, Pittsburgh has made a play behind the line on the sweep.
Well, they've tried to run that jet sweep, and every time it seems like somebody's been sitting there just waiting on it. Again, getting creative, trying to get the ball to McMillan. They line them up wide outside, but there's nobody there to put a body on Price. And these guys...
35, please. 14:35. I'll start the clock as soon as you get it reset. Thank you.
As they reset the clock, and a lot of times you'll put your playmakers in a position, look, you make one guy miss and we're going to bust a big one, but these defenders for Pitt have done a great job of wrapping up in the open field as well.
8 tackles for loss now for Pittsburgh, totaling 45 yards, and this is second down and 16. Motley going to keep it. Wow. Staying home was Bam Bradley. George III, his given name, but called Bam because as a child he used to slam everything.
Bam Bam. They just shortened it up. And showing you why. Well, even with George, you could play off that and call him George the Animal.
3rd and long and another tackle behind the line.
That's 9 now. 9 tackles for loss. Here's Hodges. Bucky Hodges is right there. You got to find him with a couple guys.
Motley under duress. Buying time to his right. Got to look. Loads, throws for Ford, and broken up. Terrace Webb, the safety, was there, along with Lafayette Pitts. And the rookie Jordan Whitehead. Boy, Pittsburgh had the back end covered up nicely on the big receiving star forward.
Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator for so long, first-year head coach. The intensity over there, he's got his guys, not just up front, the secondary's playing well, but it truly is like the sharks smelling blood in the water on defense. When they get a taste and they got a chance to go make a sack on Motley, they heat it up, and you've got bodies flying around.
This would be the longest field goal of Sly's career, and a flag thrown.
Substitution, violation, defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
It would have been a 53-yard try for Sly. It'll now be 48.
Now be careful. Think about it. You're out there. You back it up. It's a little little bit of craziness going on, march it up. This wouldn't be a bad time if you've got a field goal that you've seen something you like about Pitt's field goal block team. If you've got it in there, you got to be alert for it, especially dealing with Virginia Tech.
48-yard try, and it's good for Slide. I think he would have made it from 53, but 48 was very comfortable for Joey Slide. 11 plays, 50 yards. Pat Narduzzi finding out what road life is like in the ACC.
ACC College Football is brought to you by Works. Leaves are falling. It's Works season. And Hyundai.
Oh, a lot of things about game day in Blacksburg to see. One is the skipper, the cannon that the Corps Cadets has here at Virginia Tech. And we've got some cadets as part of our crew today. They made the cannon 1964 out of brass and scrap metal from cadet uniforms, named after John F. Kennedy. They made it because VMI had one, but it was puny and small. Virginia Tech wanted one bigger, and it's the largest collegiate cannon in the country.
Huh?
And the first time they fired it today...
I can't hear you. That cannon just went off, Wes.
The first time they fired it today, Bates took cover up here.
I know.
A rookie here at Lane Stadium. Old Batesy dropped to the ground. Time for our Honda Generators power play with a 4-point game, and don't forget, one lucky winner for each of the first 5 weeks gets a Honda generator. Log on to foxsports.com/south/Honda. This being week 5, James, this would be the last week.
Last chance for quiet, portable power.
There you go. Pittsburgh takes over, up 4 now. Panthers play from their 25. Peterman, Olison a yard. Atua Pawaka back in the lineup after being hurt against Furman, missing the Purdue and East Carolina games for these Hokies. There's a good look at the redshirt sophomore from Virginia Beach.
Born in New Zealand, though. His parents are Tongan. His father in the military, they moved here. They do a better job on that play. That play's the one that's hurt him so much. Some confusion now before the snap.
Backside throw. The catch made. Orndorff will roll out short of the first down to the 34-yard line. Adonis Alexander on the stop, but Atua Pawaka's our Honda Generator power play.
I like the pick down there in the truck, guys. There when he went, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Here he is, dropping a couple guys for loss, and that's one of 2 forced fumbles he's had on the day. The leader and just a sophomore. Boy, is he active, and the Hokies are glad to have him back out there on Bud Foster's defense.
Half dozen tackles for him today. 2 of the forced fumbles you noted, and a sack.
The previous play is under review.
All right, so Ron Cherry's crew wants to check on the spot.
Well, here's a chance. You know, it should go without saying. Should go without saying as they'll look at this spot again. But Bud Foster, get those guys over and remind them, hey, you know, they've gone 2 quarterback sneaks in these short yardage situations, or at least when they had their back to the goal line. And the first time you weren't ready for it, and they ran it right down your throats for 7 yards. Guys in the middle, you've got some players there at the defensive tackle. Let's win that battle, and let's try to get a big stand here and get the ball back.
This crew might be just double checking that the left knee didn't go down about the 31, I believe, on Orndorff. Or he only had 4 catches a year ago for a touchdown, but he's had 2 catches and 2 touchdowns coming into today's game. You got to like the average. It was 35 yards a catch. So they'll double check on the spot of the ball. It's either going to be 3rd very short or 3rd and about 4 for Pittsburgh when play resumes here in Blacksburg.
After review, the runner was ruled down on the 31-yard line. 3rd down.
There you have it. Big difference there, James. 3rd and short, 3rd and 4, although we saw Peterman go 8 yards on that sneak off the 2 earlier.
Well, that makes a world of difference here now. It makes makes it tough. You've got Peterman in. Remember, Wojtek was the one that you had to worry about tucking it and going a little bit more. They've got second down on the marker, but it is third.
He's throwing, and Boyd on the crossing route. First down to the 40. Tyler Boyd, Brandon Faison made the play defensively for Virginia Tech.
Well, down the road, whatever happens here today, defensive coordinators across the ACC all week long are going to remind their defenses it's third down. Who are we looking at? 23. Now, that's the problem is, even when you know it's coming to him, you've got double coverage or three guys on him even. Tyler Boyd finds a way to get open. When Peterman has time, he gets to him. But you better be looking for 23 when it's third down.
Going to toss it. Olison trying to get right side. Hokies rallied to the ball nicely. Terrell Edmonds got there to make the play after Daddy Nicholas wedged it back inside. Jen?
Well, as I've been watching Pat Narduzzi down here on the Pitt sideline. Now remember, fourth quarter, he's used to being down on the field. That's what he used to do as the defensive coordinator at Michigan State. He'd come down in the fourth quarter. He said he's still kind of learning this thing as a head coach, but he must have a pretty good demeanor down here on the sideline. You guys remember that Cotton Bowl, what that Michigan State defense did?
Yeah, no question about it. That time, Woody Barron filling in for the injured Corey Marshall. Makes the hit on Olison behind the line. Well, and even though he's watching the Hokie defense, Pat Narduzzi was the king of defense in college football, James.
Well, in a top 10 defense in each of the last 4 seasons. And like Jen said, you know, he said he's still getting used to this head coaching stuff. He missed a big punt block against Iowa because he had his back turned. Wants to pay more attention to those special teams, but he's trying to coach up those defensive guys. Here he wants his offense to pick up 10 big yards.
Third and the full 10. Peterman. Pressure coming. A strike for Boyd and a first down again.
I don't know.
Oh, it's short. Yep. Near midfield for Tyler Boyd on his 5th catch. And it'll be 4th and 1 for Virginia Tech as we approach the 10-minute mark.
You see, Narduzzi, look at this route. Stopping on a dime and giving you change is Tyler Boyd. And it does look like his momentum will carry him just back beyond the mark when he steps out. You know, middle of the field, you don't have the luxury that you do at the goal line. If that ball crosses the plane, it's a touchdown. But again, third down. Again, who are we going to? Tyler Boyd. Wow, 4th down at the 50. How about this?
Parrish and Aston in the backfield. And we're going to review the spot. And Ron Cherry to talk.
Come out. The ruling on the field is that the runner was short. Previous play is under review.
For selfish reasons, I hope it's short. And for selfish reasons, I hope they keep that offense out there. Are you kidding me? ACC opener for Virginia Tech and Pitt. These guys have played their tails off from the very first play here today. And we may get a chance to watch going for it on 4th down in a 4-point ball game at midfield.
Well, you noted this already. It's a sensational route by Boyd. Second team All-America a year ago, 5 catches, 48 yards. James, in his first 2 years, 12 100-yard games, 5 games with 10 or more catches, 6 of his last 8 games coming into today, stretching from last year to this year, 100 yards or more. I mean, when he showed up as a freshman, they had Devin Street, who now plays in Dallas. But Tyler Boyd's become the show in Pittsburgh, and I think we were talking earlier, they don't whisper the Larry word like Larry Fitzgerald much anymore. Yeah. With guys. They're starting to whisper a little bit Larry, like, Larry did this and Tyler does this kind of thing.
And it's not just what he does athletically, it's what he does toughness-wise. That's what, watching him this year, you better bring a load if you try to bring him down.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
All right, Batesy, you get your play here.
Well, I hope so. They may be out there just trying to draw him off sides. And, of course, a chance for Bud Foster and his coaching staff defensively to remind the Hokies on defense, don't fall for that hard count and don't jump off sides.
They'll hand the ball. Olison out of a tackle, first down. And inside the 40 of Virginia Tech. To the 37 goes Kadri Olesen. 13 more yards. Closing in on 100.
Oh, look at him just wash down that entire side. And there you go. You've got Olesen. That's the future of the ACC right there. Boom. You've got Olesen, who's just a freshman, and Motua Puaka, a sophomore linebacker who has made so many big plays, but the freshman wins that battle, and it's a great big one because it goes for a first down and a whole lot more for this Pitt offense.
Olesen well over 100 now, 115 today, and that's adding to his already 5th best per game average in the ACC. And this time, Deion Clark helps him out of bounds. Behind the line, it'll be a loss of 1. The boundary toss didn't quite work out for Peterman and Pittsburgh there. Olesen 5th in the league in rushing, 101.7 a game. That's 32nd nationally. 2nd in yards per carry and 7.5 a total.
But the interesting thing, if you haven't seen too much Pitt football this fall, of course, you heard us talk and everybody else about the ACC ad nauseum. ACC Player of the Year, James Conner, sits down. But then Olesen came on and looked like, oh, they're going to be just fine. But he had a little bit of a dip, and they weren't sure what they were going to do. Remember, Darren Hall started against Iowa, but he got hurt. He didn't make the trip. Another freshman.
Boyd at the tail of the eye now behind James. And they were going to run a freeze with Tyler Boyd and a marker on the play. Delay a game against Pittsburgh.
Boyd. Delay of game. Offense.
9th penalty against Pittsburgh for 65 yards. Don't forget another exciting edition of ACC Gridiron Live coming up this week. James with Coach Bowden, Takeo Spikes, and Ove Mahele. Roberto Aguayo talks about 2 of the most hated words in Florida State football history, and that's wide right, and does the pass way on the star kicker. All next week, coming up on ACC Gridiron Live on your regional sports network. Check your local listings. Now a timeout has been awarded to Pittsburgh instead of the delay penalty for Pat Narduzzi.
That's big. That's big. You know, I don't think Roberto Aguayo needs to worry about wide anything anymore. That guy is money. Of all the greats that have come through Florida State, he is one of the all-time all-stars to go through there. You know, as far as everybody else in the ACC in college football, 2 words that they hate, Roberto Aguayo.
Yeah.
Because he's automatic.
By the way, when we saw him in July at the ACC kickoff, the media event, and I know it's a kicker, okay, and I know how you linebackers and quarterbacks and some guys are by kickers. That's a big guy for a kicker.
It is.
Aguayo, he's a pretty big kid.
I've got no
not Janikowski big, but he's a taller guy.
Don't put that on him.
Olesen back in behind Aston at fullback. They're going to hand it to the big redshirt freshman. And down to the 35. Clock continues to move inside 8.5 minutes as Deion Clark was on the tackle for Virginia Tech.
And a nice job by Deion to get back there and stretch out and just clip the heels. Otherwise, this may be a 3rd down and 3 instead of a 3rd down and 7. All right, where's he going to be? Where's 23 going to line up? Bottom of your screen. There he is. Tyler Boyd. Find him.
Tight end on that side, too. And hand it to Olesen. Brought down. Great play, Clark. Shoe top tackle by the Hokies, number 40. What back-to-back great plays by Deion Clark, James.
Well, the senior linebacker, look at him using his hands to avoid the blocker, Aston, and then he collapses right back down to make the stop. Couple nice plays for the 6'1", 230-pounder out of Richmond.
9 tackles today for Deion Clark. And here is Ryan Winslow. And Greg Stroman going to drift on here, but Virginia Tech brings 8. And boy, Winslow 1 step. And into the end zone it goes. 7 minutes to play here in Blacksburg on a soggy Saturday in the ACC. 4-point lead for Pittsburgh. Final 7 minutes of regulation here in Blacksburg. Pittsburgh 17, Virginia Tech 13. Hokies will play from their 20. When play resumes with James Bates, Jen Hildreth, Wes Durham, our outstanding ACC football crew, we welcome you back to Blacksburg.
Well, you say they're 20. It should be pinned a little bit better. Winslow's got to give him a chance. There's been so much pressure on him, I know, all day, but this is good field position after that punt.
Motley to throw, under duress, intercepted. Picked off by Webb. Second interception of the day from Motley, and Terrence Webb comes up with it. It's his second of the year.
Pressure, I believe, is going to come from 5. E1 Price. Yes, sir, E-Harmony, because it sounded sweet to people back in Pittsburgh, and then just too easy for Webb, who's had a couple tough plays here today in the pass game, and Motley's banged up. And, well, we already know the story. Michael Brewer injured in week 1 against Ohio State. They may get him back in a week. It may be 2 weeks. But as I mentioned earlier, Dwayne Lawson has quite a future, but they don't want that future to start right now too early. What a big play for Pitt.
Olison, first down, a yard, maybe 2 to the 23.
Price has had a big day. Here's the throw, and his left hand, remember earlier, we showed you a shot of it. He was holding it gingerly. Gosh, you're looking at that shoulder just like Michael Brewer, just when he starts getting healthy. It was a similar type play as he was hit by Washington of Ohio State. Can Pitt take advantage of it now?
9 of 17, 91 yards, 2 picks, and the touchdown pass for Brendan Motley, and now Pittsburgh timeout.
Pitt.
And we'll take it with him. You see Tampa freshman Dwayne Lawson.
Michael Brewer right there with him.
Well, after the sack, as he cut loose the pass on the interception to Webb, Motley went down to the ground, James, and another look here, and went down on that right shoulder. Coming off, it looked to be a little bit more than just the normal bump and bruise. And saw a moment ago as we came back to rejoin you from Blacksburg that he was at least trying to make some throws. Second down and long. Here's Peterman under duress, shooting for Boyd. He dropped it at the 10, right in front of Faison, the corner, who was in man coverage.
Gosh, you've had so much success running that football, and it sets up the play fake so nicely. In the backfield, you see a great fake by Peterman, and it doesn't get any easier for the All-American Tyler Boyd right there. Maybe a tiny bit behind him, but he had it right there in his breadbasket, but he can't pull it in. Big third down now. If the Hokies can hold Pitt to a field goal, what a huge victory.
Peterman looking again for Boyd. Broken up Faison. And Virginia Tech gets the stop.
Wow, Kendall Fuller tried to fight, tore his meniscus in camp. Finally had to shut it down. They had surgery on their cornerback. And look at these guys stepping up. Edmonds has had a good game. And watch 31 here, Faison. Gets turned around, loses his cushion, but able to recover. Perhaps the future there, just a sophomore. What an excellent recovery play to strip it away and save the day.
42-yard drive for Blewett. He hit earlier today from 45. Blocked! And the Hokies have recovered it. Clark and Mahona get in there. And then Ronnie Van Dyke comes up with the loose change.
We've had a little bit of everything in this football game here today. The ACC opener for both of these teams. And leave it up to the Hokies to get in there and get their paws on a kick attempt. That now is 136 blocks in the Frank Beamer era. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Beamer ball, and that is going to give the Hokies a chance perhaps to march down and win this football game here late in the fourth quarter.
Can Motley throw it? We'll see. He's going to try on the first snap and off the hands of Phillips. And let's visit with Jen with 5:49 to go.
Yeah, Wes, I'm being told that Brendan Motley has a slight shoulder strain in that right shoulder. He was wincing quite a bit as he was over here on the sideline trying to throw. That first one, though, didn't look too bad.
We had to throw it across the field, so they wanted to see just how much he had in the gun. Oh yeah, it's still there though.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough Sunday morning. It'll feel a little bit better if they can find a way to get their first lead of the game.
Phillips in motion. 2nd and 10. Here's Sam Rogers. Wow. Galambos. Pittsburgh has been just as stingy, James, as we had seen at Iowa and really in ball games to start the season. This is a really good defensive unit, and you wouldn't expect anything else from Pat Narduzzi.
You wouldn't. You knew that they were good against the run. Look at them. Ranked 15th in the country coming in, giving up under 100 yards on the ground a game. But it's in the passing game is where I've really been impressed today. The coverage down the field and putting pressure on the quarterback. Here's a 3rd and long, so they'll have one more chance. What a big 3rd down now as we're near 5 minutes.
Motley's going to throw again. Pressure coming. He'll be sacked by Price. 5th sack of the day by the Panthers, and Juan Price has been at the center of most of it in half 2.
Wes, coming into this game, you heard about Daddy Nicholas, Luther Maddie, Corey Marshall, even from Virginia Tech. Hey, Juan Price is letting people know I'm another senior that can make some noise here in the ACC. He has been a nightmare for this offense against the run and against the pass all day long.
Tyler Boyd stands at the Pittsburgh 45 to wait on the punt here of Hughes. And Boyd, the fair catch at the 41. So the blocked field goal doesn't come home to roost for Virginia Tech. Beamer's team still trails 4. Well, Scott Loeffler told us, Shane Beamer, the associate head coach, same thing. Limited package for Dwayne Lawson. So Brendan Motley went back in there, James, clearly still banged up, and threw it on 1st down and then sacked again on 3rd down.
Well, yeah, there's nothing he can do about that. As soon as he gets the ball, he's got Juan Price right there in his lap. And again, it's not going to be an easy couple days here for Motley. He's definitely going to be sore. Just hope he's okay. He's made so many improvements, and heck, there's a lot of football left. If his defense can get a stop, he's going to get another chance.
Pittsburgh will be trying to run a little clock here. Timeout taken by Frank Beamer. 4:15 to play, a Virginia Tech timeout. It'll be 2nd down and about 9.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Hokies have struggled on offense today. 115 yards, 24 yards of rushing, 91 of passing.
How about that? 24 yards, you say, on the
ground? Yes, sir.
Wow.
And a 4-point lead for Pittsburgh. Time for the Z-Max performance play. Who's surprised it's 37 for Pittsburgh.
No, that was the 2nd play of the 2nd half. Quadri Olison to the house behind those big guys leading the way up front. That time it was Jamar Parrish in the backfield with them to clear the way. And you know what? This is what Pat Narduzzi told us on the phone this week. We said, what ideally do you have as an offense? You come in, you got to kind of work with the players that you've got. First-year head coach, he said, ideally, we're pro-oriented. We've got 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 backs. He said, I like some spread, and I like to watch Baylor, but how tough can you really be if you run that spread offense? And how much clock can you really kill if all you do is tempo and spread? So it falls into the lap now.
Well, power to the near side, and Olison got taken out. That's Faison, who's really come alive here in the Hokie secondary in half number 2.
Wow, and luckily for Pitt, Olison falls down inbounds as that clock will continue to tick and a quick timeout call.
So it'll be 3rd down and roughly 8 for Pittsburgh. And you see the time, just better than 4:08 to go, and the Hokies are now out of timeouts.
Olison looked a little bit slow to get up there. He's, you know, and that's one thing that Pitt can't afford. We talked about, of course, James Conner, Darren Hall. Jim Chaney told us, he said, we're 1 injury away from me running the ball. Nobody wants to see that.
118 yards, 17 carries, a touchdown today for Olison. Well, we saw Frank Beamer a moment ago, and, you know, here he is at season number 29 at Blacksburg. And you think, well, 275 wins, 233 here at his alma mater. And trying and grinding to get Virginia Tech ready.
Here's Boyd. Tyler Boyd has been a third down giant for Pittsburgh. He's up top now in motion.
Hokies bringing the pressure. Peterman on the run. He'll be sacked. Luther Maddie. Fourth sack of the day for the Hokies. Clock continues to run.
Such a good time sitting down and chatting with the senior defensive tackle yesterday. Here comes Matty. Nice little move, swim move, and the play of the day defensively. Uncle Luke, as they call him. He's from South Florida. Why not? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Shake it, Big Luther.
Winslow to punt. Wobbly kick. Stroman will let it hit. Takes a Virginia Tech bounce. Orndorff, the tight end, touches it up at the 37. Boy, 30 total points in this game. We've had plenty of things go on. Boyd bobbled a punt. Pittsburgh somehow got it back with Pitts. Tyler knew it. Narduzzi knew it. Then Peterman. Nice throw to Holtz here for the score. Pittsburgh led 10-0. And then the Hokies started scrapping back, Batesy.
Oh, they did. You know, they got things in control and started moving it around to some different receivers. They still haven't had any success on the ground. But it doesn't really matter right now because they're 325 away. They got plenty of time and decent field position to get down there and try to take the lead.
Pressure coming. Motley will be sacked. Tyreek Jarrett. First time he's gotten back there today. Sixth sack of the day for Pittsburgh. And the big fella from Steel City. Listed at 335. Might be a little more than that, Batesy.
And again, I mean, it just opened up the floodgates. 6 sacks make it 7.
Wow. That's Darrell Render. And Virginia Tech's out of timeouts.
They used them all when Pittsburgh was on offense so they could stop that clock. And now you've got third and all the way to Buffalo and more. The shop over in Reiner.
Motley lets it go. Over the top intended for Ford, who almost made an unbelievable one-hand catch, and it's now 4th down.
Well, another big pop on Motley. Boy, as he played with some toughness. He's battling through that injury on his throwing arm. Again, he comes up holding it gingerly to his side. And a good effort there. They're going to get one more chance. Pittsburgh, know where those chains are. Know where that mark is. Where those receivers are trying to get an offensive line for Virginia Tech. Can you give your guy a little bit of time? Can you give him some time to find his big targets? Bucky Hodges is up top in the slot.
Motley under duress, throws, intercepted. Picked off Kapara. Third interception of the day for Brendan Motley.
Somebody go help him up, man. Ah, what a tough day for that quarterback, and what a fun day for the guy that loves defense more than anybody in this house. Perhaps maybe sans Bud Foster, Pat Narduzzi. Man, his defense has played lights out.
Interceptions today by Maddox, Webb, and now Kapara.
He's slapping everybody he can get a piece of. Oh.
And now out of timeouts. Virginia Tech will watch Pittsburgh grind this thing to a nub. Olison will get the carry. Got a couple of yards. Well, and a very, very disappointing day for the Hokies. Virginia Tech, who lost by a touchdown at East Carolina last week. The offensive numbers will not be very pretty. 100 total yards. It'll be the second lowest number in Frank Beamer's long tenure as head coach. You got to go all the way back to 1987, his first game as head coach of his alma mater.
Well, we said 24 yards on the ground before those 2 big sacks. What's the new total? 9 yards rushing.
Yep.
This game is probably going to end with Virginia Tech at under 10 yards rushing.
That's right.
That's unbelievable. You talk about a defensive performance by Pitt here today.
Well, Pat Narduzzi's team, 7 sacks, for 57 yards, James. 7 total sacks of 57 yards.
Oh, man, look at him, huh?
49 years of age, out of Youngstown, Ohio. We told you, Dad was a coach. In fact, Bud Foster, Frank Beamer both mentioned his dad, and they coached with and against him.
The Youngstown boys, the Stoops boys coming out of there, so many great minds, football minds, and a lot of them on the defensive side of the ball. And you know, he had to hit some curveballs there early on with a couple guys getting hurt. But it shows you what a job this coaching staff has done, how good they are as coaches, and what the future looks like, Pittsburgh, because this is coming off of a bye week. They coached them up, and they got this football team better in that bye week.
Offside. Defense. Number 60. 5-yard penalty. We also will have a 10-second runoff.
By the way, the Narduzzi coaching line just doesn't begin and end with Martin Antonio. It was fun to talk to him about the late Terry Hepner at Miami of Ohio. Joe Novak at Northern Illinois, who's played a big role in both he and Scott Schaefer. Some of these other guys in the ACC coaching today. Floyd Keith, who coached at Rhode Island for years. Even the late Randy Walker at Miami of Ohio, who Pat Narduzzi worked for. And at 49, took the right job. Took the job he waited for.
He waited for a job. And this is interesting because I've never really heard it put. He waited for a job where he knew.
37.
Full discussion here by Ron.
37, please, on the game clock.
They're getting the game clock
25
reset.
on the play clock. I'm going to wind the clock.
Come on, Ron Cherry, you're giving me the business. I'm trying to tell a story here. But he waited to a job he knew that he could attract great assistants. A couple offers that he had, he wasn't sure that he could get guys and keep them there for over a year.
Pay him what he wanted to pay him.
Yes.
Well, quite a statement when Paul Christ went back to Wisconsin after Gary Anderson departed for Corvallis, Oregon, for Pat Narduzzi to be pulled to Pittsburgh. And what a debut for him in the ACC here today, James. Almost a calling card entrance into the league for Narduzzi. Pittsburgh is going to go to 3-1. And a nice rebound off a disappointing loss at Iowa 2 weeks ago here today for the Panthers, huh?
And that one loss, remind everybody, it was against Iowa on, was it the longest field goal kicked in college football this year? I'd say it's one of them,
57,
if not. On the last play of the game, a hard-fought battle. And hey, as crazy as this Coastal Division is, watch out for Pitt, because this is a huge win today on the road in Blacksburg. And there were some good spots for Frank Beamer's Virginia Tech Hokies as well, but they couldn't put it all together, especially offensively, and especially slowing down that Pitt pass rush. That was the most impressive thing to me.
What a quick turnaround it's going to be for Beamer and the Hokies, who host NC State here on Friday night. But 7 sacks today for Narduzzi's defense, totaling nearly 60 yards.
It was a big sack day. We thought it was going to be in Chapel Hill last weekend, but the sack day turned out to be today. They had 3 sacks against Virginia Tech. This Pitt defense did last year, and they got after them then, held them to 26 yards rushing, one up it. How about 7 sacks and 9 yards rushing, Jen?
Right next to me.
Well, we're getting a couple of defensive players in here too, Juan Price. But Coach Narduzzi, I apologize that we had to wait, but we were just looking at all the sacks your defense had. You have to be proud of their effort today.
Thanks, Jen. You know, I really am proud of the defense. You got 100 yards up there and 9 yards rushing. We talked about the little things in that fourth quarter, which we didn't do a week ago, to clean up and finish the game off. And today, they finished off the game with the little things that win championships. And you know, these guys made the plays. We didn't do it as coaches, but Coach Conklin did a heck of a job today.
Well, I'm going to get these guys in here too, Price, for sure, so don't go anywhere. But you talked about protecting the quarterback. That was going to be so important in this game. Well, not only did you keep your guys safe, but how about how your guys got after their quarterback?
Yeah, well, you know, that's the name of the game. You know, we wanted to stop the run. And we knew, I think there was an 88% chance if they won the rushing yards that they'd win the game. So, you know, just adds to that stat.
What do you think it says for your defense to come in here to Blacksburg, your first ACC game, and to keep them? I think they were negative rushing yards for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a tribute to these guys because they believe in the coaches, they believe in what we're doing, and they're understanding the system. You know, I think they'll get better every week.
Well, congrats. First ACC win. Thanks. All right. Juan, you're up next. Juan Price, part of that defensive unit that, man, you guys just got nasty there, especially toward the end of the game. What was your message? What was your vision trying to get into this one?
Well, today we just had to focus on the little things, like, because the effort and the toughness is always there, but Coach really been pressing the little things, like the little techniques and steps that we've been lacking. We was really on point today, and it showed off.
So what were some of the little things that let you guys be so effective in getting to the Virginia Tech quarterback?
Little things just as far as feet work, not choppy steps and long steps, and just using hands. So we was working out all week, and it really showed off today.
What do you like about this defense, these guys around you? It gives you confidence that you can come out and have a performance like this?
Just because I know there's no holes in the defense, and if we do exactly what you tell us to do, then we're going to be successful. And like not only do I believe in the team, I believe in the coaches, and that speaks volumes.
All right, now I have to ask, you like got your pants all rolled up high. It's cold and rainy out here. Is that just you? Is that just a tough guy?
Oh, it's 65 out here. It's football weather. Yeah, I should bring some sunshades out.
It is not 65, but congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I had to call him out on that one, fellas.
Hey, 65. I don't know where he's been playing today.
Yeah, that's a Pennsylvania kid. That's not a South Florida kid, I'll guarantee you that.
Well, Pittsburgh very impressive. 17-13 the win here in Blacksburg today over Virginia Tech. And a quick look at these final stats, James. 100 yards for Virginia Tech, and those sacks ended up being just huge. Look at the yards per play, Batesy. You talked about it at halftime.
Well, you know, I cannot believe that. You know, everybody talks about some of these teams that'll play some cupcakes early in the year, and it really skews the stats and what they do because, you know, Howard is a good example playing at Boston College a couple of weeks ago. And BC, the #1 defense in the nation. But this is against Virginia Tech. This is against a Hokie football team that was going blow for blow with the #1 team in the nation. This is against a Hokie football team that's going to win a lot of football games this year, and a lot of pride. To hold them under 10 yards rushing is just mind-boggling.
Well, it's the 4th worst rushing total for the Hokies in Frank Beamer's tenure. And ball game started. Chris Blewett, a field goal, kind of knuckleballed one in on Pittsburgh's first possession, 8 plays, 46 yards, 45-yard field goal. Then Boyd juggled the fumble, or juggled the punt return. Pittsburgh got it back with Lafayette hits. And then Peterman dialed up J.P. Holtz here. Pretty throw, James.
Yeah, you know what? Peterman really impressed me. It was the first time I had seen him right here on the hoof play live, and he shows you why. The productivity and the coolness, calm in the pocket. Love the way he plays those play-action fakes here today. Puts that ball on his hip. Unless those receivers get open, you had Isaiah Ford and Cam Phillips, who are 2 pretty good receivers here in this ACC, having a little bit of fun of their own as well. But it wasn't a fun day all around for Brendan Motley. You mentioned sacks 7 times. There he was throwing the interception to Avante Maddox. And Olison, Quadri Olison, just a freshman from Niagara Falls. Slowly I turn. Motua Puaka punching the ball out. We had a little bit of everything in this football game, and it was a blast.
Well, you see Sly's field goal. He had a couple of them in the second half, 43 yards, and then this one from 48 got it to a 4-point game. Virginia Tech would have the ball back after the interception, and you see Motley here scramble. The interception to Terrence Webb. After the interception, the Hokies had the ball back twice. You see the field goal was blocked. Then 2 possessions here, James. They had a 3-and-out. Again, dictated by sacks, and then the final series of the game, more sacks for Pittsburgh.
I think the only thing that Price missed all day long was his unbuckling of his chin strap to celebrate after that sack. Boy, those guys, they came after it. We made a big deal about the win by Duke over Georgia Tech to start ACC play last weekend. This win by Pittsburgh on the road in Blacksburg, equally as big. This is really going to be a fun run in the coastal of the ACC.
Well, Virginia, ironically, heads to Heinz Field next Saturday. And, of course, Virginia Tech turns around and hosts NC State on Friday. More from Blacksburg after this. 17-13, Pittsburgh a winner in their first ACC ball game of the year for Pat Narduzzi. They go to 3-1. Virginia Tech now 2-3 after the loss here today to the Panthers. Jen's downstairs with the Panther defensive tackle Darrell Render.
Yes, I thanked Darrell mightily for coming out of the locker room, coming back out here. Darrell, what's that locker room like right now after this first ACC win?
Man, it's live in there right now. Everybody's in there having a good time, enjoying each other's company, just loving the win right now.
Talk to me about what the defense was saying to one another. When you came out, man, you guys were just on fire in that final drive. You were a part of that, getting to the quarterback. What were you guys saying to one another?
It was just like 2 weeks ago in the Iowa game. You know what I mean? We let a couple plays get by us. You know what I mean? We weren't trying to have that same feeling again. So we had to come out, take care of business, get to the quarterback.
Tell me a little bit about Coach Narduzzi and what he adds to this team, kind of what he asks of this defense, since he is a defensive guy at heart.
Energy. That's all he wants us to do is give all our energy we got, man. You know what I mean? It's just like he wants us to run around, get to the ball, everybody making plays. That's what we did today, so he's a happy guy in there right now.
That's a good thing for you. Now, we learned about the toolbox and the cow bone, right, for the defense. Who do you think is a candidate to get that thing this week for the biggest hit?
I don't know. Hopefully I get thrown in there. So, but you never know. It really doesn't matter. Whoever gets it, it's well-deserved. You know what I mean? It's just something everybody wants to get, and it's an honor. You know what I mean?
Do you kind of feel like this is a fresh start for you guys? You know, you've got a new head coach, but now even starting the conference season, that this game will give you some confidence to build on?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. We're just taking one game at a time. This is a great win for us. So we just want to keep pushing and getting better and better every week.
And do you guys have conversations talking about, we're all talking about, you know, this Coastal Division could be wide open for anybody to get up there and grab?
Oh, yeah, it's wide open for everybody, and we want to be a part of it. We want to start being a part of the talk. We want to get that respect that we deserve.
So you want to go celebrate?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
All right, get to it. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, Jen, thanks very much. Thanks to Darrell Render. He and the rest of that defense, very impressive here today. Virginia Tech, 9 yards of rushing, 100 yards total.
Yeah, I think you need to break out. You need to go find some more bones because it's going to be a fight. It's going to be like a bunch of dogs fighting over a bone when it comes time to hand that out. A lot of guys that deserve it, and just, 11 guys playing fast defense and hustling to the football. The secondary played well. Up front, as you saw, Render and company really did a good job, and those linebackers are pretty good.
Boy, Panthers certainly have put a flag in the ground in their ACC opener here with the win today. Don't forget, coming up bottom of the hour, Tom Ormy, Obi Mihaly, Nicky Noto standing by. Brooks Field at the new Wallace Wade, renovated Wallace Wade Stadium. BC's in town. Boy, Harold Landry, the defensive end, and the 1-6 for Duke, Jeremy Cash. A lot more than just your normal box safety, isn't he?
Oh, he'll 86 you, put you away, that's for sure. Well, you got Jim Collins, the defensive coordinator for Duke, Don Brown, the defensive coordinator for BC. It's going to be so much fun to watch these two defenses go at it and see who offensively can be the difference and get a big win.
Cash, of course, the National Defensive Player of the Week a week ago for his effort against Georgia Tech. And James, he was everywhere against the Jackets.
He was everywhere, and he's got that burst. A great defensive player, when he makes up his mind that he's going to go make a tackle and he goes and makes it, and what you get is you get guys like Justin Thomas that have just given people fits for years in open field. Yeah. But if you don't let them get out in space, you don't let them get their shoulders turned, you don't let them make a play, if you've got that kind of mindset and, more importantly, maybe that kind of ability, you get numbers like this that Jeremy Cash had last week in a great scheme, too. Yeah. I mean, think of all the teams that Georgia Tech plays against every year, and they have success. You've got to have some players, yes, and coaches will never take that credit. They'll say, oh, it's all about the players out there, the Jessies and the Joes, not the X's and O's. But even more so, I think, when you play Georgia Tech, it's about putting them in the right spots.
Well, you mentioned Jim Collins, Jim Knowles. They've done a great job for David Cutcliffe on the defensive side of the ball. Meanwhile, the offense is starting to click maybe a little bit with Thomas Sirk at quarterback. Entertaining ball game coming up bottom of the hour at Boston College visits Durham to meet the Duke Blue Devils. And Duke will be playing their second ACC game in a renovated Wallace Wade Stadium. A phenomenal transformation over on the west campus of the fabled Horseshoe. And here's a look at what's going on.
Dave Harding joined by head coach David Cutcliffe of the Duke football program. We're here at Brooks Field at Wallace Wade Stadium. A lot of excitement taking place around Duke football from a facility standpoint. But Coach, you came here 8 years ago to build a football program. What kind of development have you seen over the past 8 seasons as you've headed into this 2015 year?
You know, it's just been year by year by year of collective habits. I think any great organization is an organization where the people all have some of the same collective habits. And I think we've been fortunate that our coaches, our players, everybody that's a support person to Duke football have embraced all of those great habits. And so I think we've seen over 8 years an improvement in the program in every aspect, but certainly people are visually seeing it on the field.
You mentioned about visualizing things. A lot of change has happened around this athletic facility as a whole. How exciting for you has it been to watch that process and the progress?
I am amazed at Beck Construction and their talents and their abilities. You know, when they had to dig it all out, Dave, was pretty amazing how far down it went. And now you see this finished product because we brought the stands closer. You actually feel like it's all been raised and elevated, and you got this big giant field here. And my gosh, just look out there. It's incredible.
You've got a game under your belt now in this new stadium. How did that change things?
It was an entirely different atmosphere, the best atmosphere we've had yet. Every player tells me that. You got fans right there with you on the bench. The field is more visual. You got the video board in the end zone that closes that big open end. And so we're all sitting there afterwards, we were talking. I can't remember what it was like before. This is too good to be true.
Coach, everybody is excited right now about the facility improvements, and they've enjoyed it already, but there's still much to come. Talk about what the future holds around Duke football.
Well, you know, when you look at this, and people, we're open for business. You know, we're playing football games while being surrounded by construction. And by the 2016 season, we hope we continue a construction of Duke football, of continued growth, of becoming better in every aspect of our program. All the while, there's a transformation. I wouldn't call this a renovation. This is truly a transformation of athletics facilities and hopefully one of Duke football itself.
Well, stay tuned. Tom Wormy and Ovi Mihaly, Nikki Noto will be there in just a few minutes for Duke and Boston College. And the stadium project by itself really kind of speaks to the momentum the football program has built in David Cutcliffe's now 8 seasons there in Durham.
In David Cutcliffe's 8 seasons. You know, I mean, it has so much to do with David Cutcliffe. Right. He would not take any credit for that. But let's face it, that's a special football coach. They've won a lot of football games, and you got to get winning if you want people to go out and support. You know, you can't just be a good guy and go lose football games and expect people to show up and want to see and be a part of the program. My brother played for him at Tennessee. Yep. I've been around him a lot. My dad's coached with him. I enjoy being around Coach David Cutcliffe, and I enjoy, you hear a lot of coaches talk about student athletes and making these guys better young men. David Cutcliffe, I mean, he sincerely means that every bit as much as he wants to win football games. He wants to make these kids, like Dave Harding, better young men and help them grow up. Not a division game for Duke per se, but a conference game, so just as important. Likewise for Adazio and BC, who lost their opener to Florida State a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and they've got a lot of holes to fill offensively. You mentioned earlier Thomas Sirk is starting to come around. They had hoped it would have been a little bit faster, and that's what Coach Cut does, is he gets those quarterbacks ready to play. Sirk played a lot in short yardage situations last year, was a little bit uncomfortable throwing the ball at times, but if you're a Duke fan, at least you have that. At least you have some guys back. Your studs for BC, you're still trying to find some answers offensively. Well, keep an eye on Harold Landry, a defensive end for Boston College. They'll meet the Blue Devils coming up, but here today in Blacksburg, you see K.K. Mosley-Smith and Pittsburgh. They beat the Hokies by 4. A final word from Lane Stadium right after you see this. Well, before we send you to Durham for Duke and Boston College, one of 3 big 3:30 ball games in this week 5 in the ACC.
Miami a loser on Thursday night at Cincinnati. Louisville leads NC State in Raleigh by a touchdown. They go to quarter 4 at Carter Finley.
Well, even Florida State and Wake Forest, for some reason, it always seems to be interesting. I think that's Jim Grove's fault from back in the day from getting after those Knolls. But Wake Forest can throw it around, and Kendall Hinton is an exciting guy. And when you talk about excitement, no place more exciting today than Death Valley tonight. It should be a fun one for Dabo Sweeney and company.
Well, what a debut for Pat Narduzzi in the ACC. 7 sacks for the Panthers. They hold off Virginia Tech 17-13. Next Saturday, we're at Alumni Stadium, beautiful Chestnut Hill, Mass. For BC and Wake Forest. For James Bates, Jen Hildreth, our great crew. Wes Durham from Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, and you've been watching ACC football. Duke and BC next.